All right, welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we are watching kind of a fan request of Marc Lamont Hill versus Destiny on the Israel occupation, amongst other things. Let's be honest. But first, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Whatever you want. There you go. Thank you. All right, so just gonna just run into this. Very curious. I believe it's like the 25:41 mark is where he's like, okay, at least get up to there. So he or she, I don't know. I don't judge. Uh, and I'm curious. Now I've done a video on Marc Lamont Hill in the past when he was taking fire like years ago because he said from the river to the sea, make Palestine free or something like that. Right, and he got a lot of shit for that. Meanwhile, it's like, no, I get what he's saying. It's like he isn't trying to say, kill all the Israelis, eliminate the Jews, or anything stupid like that. He's not saying that stuff. But it was taken that way. And people that are brand new to the whole Israel-Palestine conflict, yeah, back then, this is way before October 7th. So, yes, there was a thing where if you question Israel, you'd be called anti-Semitic. That's dying down more so now, where it looks like bullshit or crying wolf almost in some circumstances. Other circumstances, like maybe it looks a little bit not legit, but Nick Fuentes, you're not helping. Candace Owens, you're not helping. What's his name? Jake, the fucking MMA guy. Jake Shields, not helping. But the tactic of just dismissing someone because you just called them racist has been a thing for a long time in regards to Israel, Palestine, or the way the Israeli government works in general. So, but, it is what it is. We're here now. Let's check out this debate. I'm ready. Marc Lamont Hill, Destiny. Let's see what happens. Probably a schooling, but here we go.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, this is Marc Lamont Hill. I am a journalist and an academic.
Used to work for
and
CNN.
A YouTuber on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. And
I believe he got fired for the river to the sea comment from CNN. Or he might have quit. I don't fucking know. But he used to work for CNN, for sure. But, all right, here we go.
Excited to talk to you, man. I've heard a lot about you.
Well, I don't know what your positions are on anything. I know sometimes people tag me with big accounts and they're like, hey, debate Israel-Palestine. And I've been doing a lot of reading for this particular area. So, yeah, I've just been talking to a lot of people, generally pro-Palestine people, sometimes the really pro-Zionist people. But, yeah, do you have a particular spot you wanted to start at, or...
No, I mean, it's funny. People have said the same thing to me about you. Like, you two should debate. And I don't know what we would debate, but I think for me, I guess the most interesting place to start is the moment we're in right now, given all of the death and violence and destruction, and kind of making sense of it. Maybe then it'll cause us to take a step back and figure out all
what month
the causes and the solutions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I get my perspective, and then
okay.
Yeah, we can go from there if you want.
Sure, that works for me.
Yeah, I think right now, Israel is in a war with the Gaza Strip. I think Hamas is the stated enemy. I think Israel's goal is to eliminate Hamas. I think they have the moral authority to do so. I think it's totally acceptable that they go to war with this. I think that, unfortunately, there is a high cost right now of civilian casualties. I'm not sure there's any way to avoid that at the moment. I don't think a ceasefire where Hamas remains in power is acceptable. Yeah, I think broadly, that's kind of my takes on the current conflict right now.
I already, granted, I have foresight now, or sorry, not foresight, hindsight, right? Like I've seen events play out so far. So, but at the same time, in this period of time, and at May 8th, 2024, I'd be like, yeah, you're not actually looking at what's happening, are you, Destiny? Of course you're not, because I really think this guy is full of shit. Absolutely full of shit. Slack jaw, full of shit. But anyways, here we go.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I don't begin from the same place. For starters, I don't begin from the place of saying Israel is ever in a position of moral authority. I don't think that's the case. But
it's not realistic.
More fundamentally, or probably more relevant, certainly more urgently, I don't believe the claim that they are actually fighting Hamas, that they're at war with Hamas. I think the thing that I've been consistently saying is that they are actually, it's a war on the Palestinian people. It's a war on Gaza. And Hamas becomes an effective, a compelling, maybe even a persuasive pretext for a set of actions that they've always wanted to do and that they've always sort of done. And finally, Hamas.
Sorry to cut him off, but like that is now proven to be the case. As in, it's not actually about Hamas. Clear as day. But what's funny is that Destiny, to this day, is still arguing on one side of things. And it's hard for me to believe that it's about pride. Like, just like the pride of being right about something, like as a debate bro like Destiny is. It's hard for me to make that argument that it's strictly about pride and just trying to have trying to seem like you're correct. I can't go there. Based on like his reasons right now of why he's still sticking by the same side of the argument. I don't have that. Sorry. That makes me think this guy's just straight up full of shit. Meaning I'm looking at this guy kind of through that lens. Or at the very least, maybe not through that lens, but at the very least, I'm not forgetting what I know now. Right? The information I know now and the arguments of Destiny right now. So those are not going to be forgotten. I'm not going to put this in a fucking vacuum. To where even when things may, like, because it's closer to October 7th, you know, because it's closer to that, that means like, oh, well, I understand why Destiny is so favorable towards the Israeli government in regards to all this, right? I'm not using, sorry, when you're maintaining these arguments after all the shit that everyone's seen, sorry, that makes me think you were full of shit at the very beginning of all this. And it's like, yeah, I know you're fucking comfortable. You know, you make a lot of money, Destiny, right? I know you're very comfortable. And I know you hate yourself. I get that too. I can't say I know that, but I truly believe this guy fucking hates himself. Right? And he's like, fuck it, burn the fucking world down. It's like somewhere in his heart somewhere, unfortunately. But still, full of shit to me. But all right, here we go. Sorry to cut Marc Lamont Hill off. Here we go.
And Hamas becomes an effective,
pretty loud,
a compelling, maybe even a persuasive pretext for a set of actions that they've always wanted to do and that they've always sort of done. And finally, Hamas, I think, gave them ample reason and excuse to do so.
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess we can dive into that. I feel like this idea that they're at war with the Palestinian people
is now proven.
What do we mean by that, I guess, more specifically?
It's now proven. It is it's proven now. Maybe in Destiny's mind back then, but right now it's proven. And by the way, this was the idea I considered years before, 2023, So that was already a thing to me. Like, yeah, these guys want these people out of here. Not all of Israelis, but their government and definitely Netanyahu's administration, they want Palestinians out of that motherfucker, bro. West Bank, Gaza, get them out. That has been obvious to me, actually. Pretty fucking obvious. And probably Marc Lamont Hill will go to the past and be like, well, this has been like, let's be real, built from years ago. Forget about like in their time period. Forget about last year in October. Years ago, they were building this and they were moving in that direction, and they were always subjugating these fucking people, straight up. But all right, here we go. Sorry, I just get like, I can't stand full of shit lying motherfuckers like Destiny. I can't stand this fucking idiot, bro. This fucking dweeb, bro. Takes people's money to fucking abuse them with bullshit information. I can't stand shit like that. Forgive me. Let's continue.
That there, a few things. One, when you look at sort of the statements that have been made, which we could take or leave as they argue in the ICJ, you know, some of that is just anger and emotion and all that stuff. But there have been numerous Israeli statesmen, numerous Israeli former military figures, people in the Knesset, people who range from the middle to the right wing, who have sort of said, hey, we're going to have another Nakba here. People who have said we're going to bomb them 3 generations back. We're going to turn Gaza into tents. That kind of language isn't suggestive of a surgical, you know, targeting of Hamas, or even a reasonably efficient war on Hamas that will inevitably bring civilian casualties, because all wars bring some casualties. That's unavoidable. But it seems to me that they quite clearly know that the tactics that they're deploying are going to lead to a high number of civilian casualties and a relatively low, comparatively, number of Hamas operatives who are killed.
That is clear as day. Sorry, I had to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up in the middle of this shit. All right, let me see. Here we go. Once again, allegedly, but it's gonna be brought up. Sorry, even if this could all be fake, but why not like take it serious for a second? Work with me, you know. You see breaking. This is the Israeli Jewish settlement plan for Gaza that was presented today at an Israeli Knesset conference attended by members of the Knesset and Israeli Minister of Finance, Smotrich, right? 1.2 million Jews without Gazans, since they will all be expelled or forced to immigrate, not all voluntarily. Construction of 3,000 housing units, establishment of high-tech agriculture and education centers. The document presents a strategic plan to remove Gaza's population and replace it, ethnic cleansing, with Jewish settlements, describing this as a humane and effective solution, not a collective punishment, which is just on the surface like a fuck you to brains. Anyone with a fucking brain, fuck you. If this is true, once again, this could be bullshit, right? I don't know the language. It could be bullshit. And I'm not asking fucking Grok for this. According to the plan, after October 7th, the Gaza population lost its legitimacy to remain due to Hamas's actions. Their removal, either voluntarily or through organized arrangements, is considered necessary for resettlement or resettling Siderat, I don't know if I can say that, and expanding Jewish presence. Or Israeli, but they may say Jewish. I can't say I know. The proposed master plan includes building 2 major cities in northern and southern Gaza with 300,000 housing units for over 1 million people, creating a university for 25,000 students focused on agriculture and water research, establishing a tech park, industrial zone, and a logistics center for trade and supply access, developing coastal tourism with nature trails and heritage sites. It almost sounds like I thought of Trump immediately with that one, right? Look at that beautiful beachfront property. So beautiful. Setting up security zones and strengthening nearby Israeli communities. The plan also highlights that Over 1,000 families across 67 settlement groups are ready to settle immediately. This is presented as the first phase of renewing Jewish settlement in Gaza following Zionist tradition. Once again, I can't translate this. I'm just throwing it out there as like, what if? On my channel, it's less about factoids. It's more about thinking. Possibilities. What if? Meaning, forget about like, someone saying, no, that's not the case. That'll never happen. Forget about that. Like, what if? How do you feel about that? Like, if that was the case? I think people would be like, okay, that's probably wrong. Like, that's not right. Right? And you're doing it like out in front like this, like before, like the idea right now is that there's people there and they're suffering and they're there to free the Gazans from the evil Hamas, right? That's kind of the narrative from the Israeli government, right? But if they actually plan some shit out like this, that means they're not there for that. And they're not there for hostages either, by the way. Israeli hostages. Like, it has to make you think a little bit, right? Like, I swear to God, when I look through information, I don't dismiss anything. I consider it. Now, I may be like, okay, that sounds like bullshit, like, intuitively. But, I say that, not just to you, but to myself. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening here, but that doesn't sound right, or that sounds like possible, or whatever. The point is to thought experiment your way through kind of reaching a moral conclusion. Like, okay, what do you do with this scenario? Like, what do we do? My mind says, all right, everybody, stop what the fuck you're doing, and let's forensic investigate this shit. Through and through. Let's investigate thoroughly through all of it. From documentation to on the ground. Investigate all of it. Everything. Everything in question gets fucking investigated. That's where my mind goes. Of like what to do about this shit. But then again, where is this shit? Then again, you have fuck faces like this who have decided already. He's already decided. Teams, all that shit. He's Googling as this guy's talking to him, which means you're not fucking listening, probably. Let's be honest. Like, not really. Like, you can hear words, but are you actually listening? I mean, question both of them, by the way. Like, I don't know Marc Lamont Hill either, right? I don't know him as a person. I question him too. Like, are you listening? Are you paying attention? Are you countering the points that are being brought up, on and so forth, right? So, yeah, like, I'm sorry, bro. Hindsight, this fool's already dumb as rocks. But guess what? In the meantime, when this debate actually happened, guess what? You have dick riders that were already believing what the fuck this guy was saying. Where his statements, he already said in 4 minutes of audio so far, some of the shit he said is already absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. And instead of stopping, be like, well, what if? Well, what if this? Well, what if that? Instead of doing that, there are dick-riding fans that just said, Destiny's correct. Or Mark is correct. Instead of saying, like, what if? Well, how do you, like, if they're opposing views, like, what if one is right or one is wrong or vice versa? Like, well, let's stop everything and investigate it and find out the best we can. Of course, is never the answer, right? That might be, actually, that might be like somewhere where Mark would go, but would this fuckface go there? Would Destiny go there? Let's stop and investigate, Destiny. This fool already hates himself, bro. Can't deal with this shit. But, sorry. Ad hominems, I understand. But I do it here anyways on YellBro. It is what it is, guys. All right, let's keep it moving. Here we go.
For these two things, if Israel was indeed trying to maximize casualties for Palestinians, why would they give so much warning to try to evac people from, say, northern Gaza before beginning operations?
Not necessarily
why not just,
true.
Start bombing.
So there's two answers to that. I think one, I don't buy that. I don't accept their public narrative that they're always so committed to warning people, and I think there's plenty of counter evidence to that.
There is. Sorry, 5 minutes of warning is not enough for a missile hitting. Sorry, for packing up your whole lives and moving, 5 minutes is not enough. Also, there's probably, let's be honest, in the fog of war, I'm sure there's plenty of incidences where, like, straight up, no warnings. But then again, that takes a brain to, like, figure out, like, think about, right? Instead, you have some fuckface on Google, like, well, like just Googling, what does the Israeli government say? What does Times of Israel say? Any quotes from the administration? But then again, you know, to keep his fucking street cred, he says like, well, Trump sucks, right? Keep his street cred. Loser. Absolute loser. Here you go.
But then there are also moments where they very explicitly said, we're not going to do that. I'll give you an example. You know, roof knocking has been an Israeli tactic for years, right? You know, where they drop a non-explosive munition, you know, to let people know you got an hour to get out, you got a half hour to get out, you got 10, whatever the time frame is to get out. And they very explicitly said, and I've even interviewed Israeli leaders who have said, hey, roof knocking stopped on October 7th. And there's been a kind of a consistent narrative of, because of what they did to us, we no longer have the same rules of engagement. But then when you look at what people are actually saying on the ground, whether it's in Rafah right now, or if you look 2 or 3 weeks ago when journalists were killed, for example, or other civilians, where they were told that they were on a path that was for journalists, or a path that was a humanitarian corridor or a safe path, they still got hit. There are people, countless reports of people from the north who traveled south and were still hit on the road where they told was safe. So both in word at times, but certainly in practice.
We're seeing that with humanitarian aid right now, right? Blatantly obvious unarmed people being shot down, right? In broad daylight. Hey, we're civilians. But hey, maybe we got to the food thing too late because the lines are so long. Or we know the lines are long, so we got here early, we get shot at. Or we step out of line to see what's happening, or we try to, like, maybe, once again, maybe cut line for all we know, right? Maybe try to sneak in and cut line to get some food or flour or something like that. You get shot for that too. Once again, using hindsight here, that this guy in this time period was pretending it's not possible, apparently. I mean, well, I don't know his full argument, but I could believe that this guy would, like, pretend. He's like, oh, no, don't worry, there's security guarantees here. Meanwhile, like, he's saying that here, and it's like, you see the results now, right? In 2025, you can see the fucking results. And it's like, isn't that fucking disgusting? Isn't that fucking, like, stomach turning? It's like, you were so fucking wrong back here. Yeah, I see this guy debating the Myron Gaines guy. Like, damn, you're still here, aren't you? That means you're full of shit, aren't you? Telling IDF people to stop recording what they're doing because it looks bad. You're full of shit, aren't you? Hey, man, just because you hate yourself, do not take it out on the rest of us. That's what fucking peak losers do. Straight up. These people you see around the world that are like these leaders and shit that are causing problems all over the fucking place and killing people in mass. These fools have had a destiny moment. They don't like themselves. So what they do is they build armor And once you build political armor, you can use that to boost your self-esteem. I kid you not. That is a real phenomenon. Go ask Gabor Mate. Go ask Jordan Peterson if you want to. Go ask him too. Anyways, here we go.
Countless reports of people from the north who traveled south and were still hit on the road where they told was safe. So both in word at times, but certainly in practice consistently, it's been pretty hard to make a case that that Israel's been committed to protecting the vulnerable here.
So, a couple things. So when you say you don't accept the public narrative that they're always committed to warning people, I mean, Israel pretty unequivocally goes above and beyond when it comes to warning people.
Googling, Mark.
So than I think than has been observed in any other active military theater, whether it's making phone calls to people, contacting community leaders, putting out notice 24, 48, 72 hours in advance for people to leave. I think Israel has gone above and beyond, say, what any international law requirement would be to warn civilian population to leave.
That shouldn't matter.
Northern Gaza. I don't think that's controversial. We can go into examples or arguments relating to that.
I would disagree with that.
Okay. I mean, they do, and I don't think anybody else takes that same level of precaution that they do. We can argue that they might have a higher, that they might have some higher level of precaution they should take because it's so densely populated. But Israel does try really hard to warn people to get them to actually leave. Now, for whatever reason, Hamas has told some of them that they're not allowed to leave, or that they can't leave. Hamas did prevent some people.
Well, he knows. He works for them, so he knows the answer. Just saying.
It's so weird.
Yeah, and bizarre, huh?
You're saying there's an older video, so
from May 2024. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah. It's just so weird, what he's saying. Like he's really bending over backwards to be like, oh, they do their best not to they warn people and all of this, and I mean, what exactly are they doing? They were saying a little bit earlier, right? They're trying to get, or it might have been the other guy who said it, but they're trying to get rid of the people there and replace them, right? People living there.
Well, Hamas is in every house, so you gotta blow them up. And hospital and school. So
yeah, just statements are so strange that I mean, there's always it's always possible if somebody doesn't know something, but this guy is saying it like he knows this is what they're doing. They're warning. They're doing their best. They're better than anybody else, right?
He's working backwards from
why would
conclusion.
You make? Yeah. To make those statements, for those words to come out, he's got no uncertainty there. He just, I guess, because it's a debate, maybe. But
I think he's full shot.
Yeah, oh man, is this so? If people are, let's say, I always thought of debates not this type of thing, but you want to come out learning something. You're gonna hear two sides of things, right? And that's not usually how it's run, a debate. But if you don't know what's going on, what are you gonna take away from this? His words are just not true. But and the reason I asked about when it was because now it's I think very few people could defend that. Back years ago, I think there was maybe less people aware. So
yeah, a little more gray area for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just weird hearing that now. Yeah, with my current knowledge here, how he spoke about that.
Did you want to take a guess? Did Destiny apologize? I hope he did. I hope he did. Someone might have said that, but I hope he apologized. I was way off. I was way wrong. But then again, he's still on the same side of the argument.
I don't watch him enough. But I haven't. Usually, I see him in this type of environment, and I haven't really seen him apologizing for things. But I'm not a regular viewer.
Me neither. So, but it's what it looks like is, you know, Bob is Destiny's friend, right? And someone's like, "Yo, Bob beat me up and took my fucking lunch money yesterday. What the fuck?" Bob didn't do that. Bob was over here. He was at my friend's house the other day. He was nowhere near you. You're lying. Bob didn't beat you up. And then he finds, like, you know, video footage of Bob beating the kid up and taking his lunch money. He's like, well, then, okay, fast forward to 2025, right? Well, you know, okay, Bob did do that, but, like, he's like a good guy, though. He didn't, like, he's still a good guy, though. Have you seen, the other guy? Did you see the guy he beat up? Terrible. Sports terrorism. You know what I'm saying? He's a bad. Did I ever tell you what happened on October 7th? Can I explain that one to you? Like, let me sit you down. Let me sit you down and talk about that. Like, that's what this guy comes off as. It's like, yo, you are head to toes full of shit, aren't you? And once again, just because you hate yourself, don't take it out on the rest of us. Fuck. Don't harm yourself either, but don't take it out on other fucking people. Which is where this guy is. He's like, fuck my life. I hate everything. Go play your fucking little emo song. Oh, I'm so fucking sad, man. Fuck everything. Who's gonna pay me the most? It's like, yeah. Fucking trash can. I can empathize, but guess what? You're still fucking trash for that. Sorry, I made up my own narrative for Destiny right there. But it could be true. It could be. Anyways, all right, here we go.
From fleeing south. When you said that roof knocking has been a tactic that Israel has used for years, roof knocking, again, that's not something that's required by international law to do that level of warning. They would.
Using technicalities of international law. But it's like, yo, is this okay? Is this right? And I'm going to say the same thing to Marc Lamont Hill that I would say to Dave Smith, where it's like, yo, do you see what this guy's doing? Fuck the debate. What is he doing? Well, technically, that's not against international law. Like, is it wrong to you? So why don't you argue from that? Or, like, argue from that position then? Otherwise, I'm arguing a fucking ghost. Fucking wobbly spirit. The fuck am I arguing with them at that point? Fuck out of here, man. I can't stand lying. I can't stand liars. Can't stand that shit. Well, technically, that's okay by international law. Like, who gives a fuck? Is it okay by you? Dummy. Sorry. All right, here we go.
Sometimes, although
fucking
as the
dumb
threat
motherfuckers around
increases,
here, bro.
the
Get
notice
them
that
the
you
fuck
give the
outta
enemy for where
here.
you're going to attack
Retire.
probably decreases. So roof knocking, for instance, wouldn't be something you would do if you think it's going to give the enemy combatant time to hide. That's only something you're going to do if you're trying to destroy infrastructure and you don't care if like enemy combatants are leaving. And then people,
As we see now, they are destroying infrastructure on purpose. Blatantly on purpose.
traveling from the north to the south still got hit. Yeah, there's no guarantee that the south is going to be completely free of attacks, just that the north would be far more heavily bombed than the south. So if you move south, the chances of you getting attacked are going to be far lesser than if you go, than if you remain in the north, basically.
It's
Couple points. So
technicalities.
You said that Israel goes above and beyond. I want to be clear there. So when you say above and beyond, the question becomes above and beyond what? Initially, you've raised two different comparators there. One is what other countries do, and the second is international law. I would push back. In fact, I would fully disagree with the idea that notifying civilians is not part and parcel of, or is not directly what international law demands. In other words, they're not going to warn civilian population. You have a duty. Let me make it even more clear. You have a duty as a nation to use all available means to prevent civilian deaths. And if you don't, then you're actually in violation of international law. So telling people, hey, we're going to bomb here in 10 minutes, or we're going to bomb here in an hour, is absolutely what you're supposed to do. That's not a bonus, or that's not above and beyond by any stretch. I would agree that other nations have committed war crimes, that other nations have also not followed this. But you raised an important counterpoint to yourself, which I think you're right about, which is when it's such a densely populated area and people have so few options. You're talking about 5 miles wide, 25 miles, long. people have limited options to evacuate. You're right. There's no guarantee that if you leave one place that you're going to be completely safe. But that wasn't my argument. My argument was they're bombing the very places they told them would be safe shelters. There are people in camps. There are people in hospitals. There are people in other places where they were told, if you go to this place, this will not happen. And they're saying, contrary to what they were told, those very places were bombed prior to the time where they said bombing would begin, or prior to the time where they said that some kind of act of violence would begin. I guess my I guess my question, I would go back to the beginning of that and just pose it as a question to you. What is your understanding of what international law requires people to do?
So a couple things. So international law absolutely does not require you to take every single precaution to avoid civilian deaths.
Is that your response? If you're talking to a real like a real person, is that the fucking response you get? Well, you don't have to actually warn them. Like, technically, you don't have to actually do that. See what I'm saying? Like, yo, Mark, take it out of the debate thing and take it to the human thing. Like, yo, man, sure, a technicality of the fucking law. Yeah, you don't have to warn anyone of anything. Sure, in whatever scenario. Not saying that is the law, but like, let's say I just take it at face value. Okay, you don't have to actually warn people before you bomb an area for the sake of like trying to avoid killing civilians. Like, but is that okay? In any perspective of your worldview, is that okay, Destiny? And at that point, I'm going to start roasting the fucking guy. Right? Like, let me guess, you wish you were under the fucking bomb? You hate your fucking self that much? Fuck.
So they're warning because they know that there's civilians where that bomb is landing? Is that the idea of the warning?
Well, Mark is saying that they're saying, yo, go here, it's safe for civilians, right? And then they're bombing it anyway. They're bombing it anyways. That's what Mark is saying.
Oh, yes.
And then Destiny's saying, well, technically, does you don't have to actually warn before you bomb it. Like, that's what he started his sentence with. I'm like you motherfucker, dude. Fuck off.
I did. Yeah, I know you're more on the is this right or wrong thing. And yeah, even along that line, I don't think you're supposed to bomb civilians, period. Like you're not. Yeah, well, like why is that even coming up?
Because they're going to use technicalities, right? To say, oh no, this wasn't trying to hit civilians. This was strategic for military purposes. That is going to be Destiny's answer, most likely. Granted, he'll be way wrong by a lot. We had remember year ago debate, right? So we have the fucking hindsight, right? We know what happens. He doesn't, as of this point in time, right? But he's still arguing for it anyways, and you see what actually happened as a result of as a result of quote unquote following the rules the way Destiny perceives them. Like, oh, you're just killing a shit ton of civilians. Got it. Now, me personally, once again, I pull it out of, okay, fuck politics for a second. You as a person, where are you at, Destiny? Huh? And it's like, once again, I am a non-violent person, but part of me is like, fucking slap the shit out of this fool, bro. Slap the fucking shit out of him. I would never do that. Obviously, I would never ever do that. But my spirit would smack the fuck out of his. 100%. That is a guarantee. Like, I will find you in the afterlife and beat the fuck out of you for this. But then you can go to heaven.
I'm just trying to understand why you would bomb civilians.
To eliminate them. Or get them to leave or get them to run away.
Okay, that makes sense. Or to get them to run away. That aligns with what they're trying to do. But who can defend? I know that they say they Hamas gets embedded and surrounded by they cover themselves with babies, so that's why we bombed the babies. But it's then that's not really the time to bomb them, then, right? I mean I really just don't understand. Okay, because bombing's also kind of cowardice, right? Like that's like,
Huh.
is there no other way to do that? Like, I mean, they control this whole area, don't they?
I mean,
Like,
you could send ground forces in to like try to deal with each member of Hamas one by one if you're going to do like some war thing, right? But they don't do that.
it is war. It is war, and it's an occupied area, right? So like they actually control all of this land. So it, I see these things happen, and I'm like, there's like the point is to bomb civilians, right? Like, because if you were trying not to, you wouldn't do any of these things.
Yeah, if you're actually like really trying, like, yo, I will not risk a civilian, which is like that's more extreme, right? Where it's like I will not risk one civilian. It would not look like what they're doing now. Let's say you want to minimize civilian casualties. Just forget about my idea. Just minimize civilian casualties because as Marc Lamont Hill's like, oh, it's war. Okay, minimize civilian casualties. They're not doing that either, right?
Right.
So like, where are we then? Where are we actually at then? Essentially, extermination. Essentially, at that point, extermination or exile, one or the other. Get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That seems to be the idea.
Yeah. So like, just looking at it that way, like any conversation of like what Geneva Conventions are, or rules of like it just doesn't, like this whole situation. It's not what they're selling us. So like, why not just look at it for what it is, right?
Well,
It breaks my brain trying to like.
well,
this shit just seems evil.
when you have a big house with nothing but ghouls walking, nothing but ghosts, and nothing living in there, expect this. Forgive me, but yeah, I'm just saying it. Like, sorry, Destiny is what I see you as, bro. Big ass house, no life in it. Anyways, let's continue.
That would basically eliminate a country's ability to go to war. None of the Geneva Conventions mandate that you have to take every single precaution. They'll say reasonable precautions. I think it's Article 57.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah, reasonable precautions. But even in Article 57 of Additional Protocol 1 to the 49 Geneva Conventions, it literally says, like, I think the quote is, effective advanced warning of attacks which may affect the civilian population unless they're...
Think it is? You're fucking reading it. We know you're reading it. I think the quote is this. Like, you're fucking reading it. Fuck off. You trash at like, how you trash at everything, dude. Sorry for wigging out like this. You two people. I'll try to calm down, but it's just like every little fucking detail of this motherfucker's trash. Every little fucking detail. How are you this bad at everything? Fuck. I don't know if this is true or not, but like you're reading the fucking quote.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah, reasonable precautions. But even in Article 57 of Additional Protocol 1 to the 49 Geneva Conventions, it literally says, like, I think the quote is, effective advanced warning of attacks which may affect the civilian population unless circumstances do not permit. And there's a whole calculation of proportionality that goes into conducting attacks. And unfortunately, civilian deaths are oftentimes included because that's war. It sucks, and it does. Now, curiously, it is also part of international law that you have a duty to protect your civilian population when conducting war, which Hamas absolutely does not follow, unequivocally so.
What do you mean?
As in, Hamas doesn't take any precautions to protect their civilian population. They conduct strikes from civilian populations, they operate among civilian populations, they store ammunition and weapons among civilian populations, and they operate out of civilian hospitals. That's a violation of international customary law, at least. Yeah.
So a couple things there.
This guy's a fucking liar.
If you're saying
Mark, call him a liar.
I would not disagree with you that Hamas doesn't always take precautions.
They don't take any precautions ever. They don't.
What's the basis of that claim that they take no precautions?
The basis of the claim is, I could try to find the particular articles, but I know Michael Schmidt does a lot of foreign policy analysis, and in part of the articles that he's written, it's been observed that Hamas has prevented people from fleeing south into southern Gaza as Israel is putting out the warnings. In Amnesty International reports, they've reported that Hamas at times will store, I know for 2014, for instance, I know that it was in this one, that they put out evidence that Hamas would be firing rockets from neighborhoods or from outside schoolyards, or they'd be storing ammunition in civilian buildings. These are all things that somebody's doing that's not taking proper care and precaution to protect their civilian population, because you're turning civilian targets into military targets. Oh, another good example is all those videos that we saw of I think it was the Al-Shifa hospital being used as a base of operations for terrorists to take back hostages or prisoners of war and to operate out of that hospital. Amnesty International also documented them using that same hospital, I think in 2007, 2008, maybe in 2014 again, as like an interrogation center too. Once you do these things, these places lose their civilian protection status. They become military targets under international law.
So,
under technicality, like, yeah, is that for me? Once again, a relative term of like reasonable attempts to not not just kill a bunch of civilians. Does that count? Well, something happened here in 2007, so that means in 2024 we can just bomb it. Is that good enough for a healthy mind? Not for this little fucking warped little fucking brain rot motherfucker over here, but for someone healthy. Is that reasonable? Get the fuck out of here. These liars, dude. Great liars. Because he hates himself so much, I think he hates the rest of us too. It's like, he's like, fuck it, let the world burn. Fuck it. Anyways, here we go. Like, just callously too. No feeling behind it. He's like, well, technically, blah, 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 blah. Show him a dead body. He's like, oh, whatever. For all I know, show this guy a dead body. He might be like, oh, whatever. No cares about it.
There's like four things there that I strongly disagree with.
Sure.
The first thing is just at the level of argumentation. I stipulated at the beginning that I think sometimes Hamas doesn't take sufficient precaution. Your arguments prove the point that I was already making, which is sure, they don't always take sufficient precaution. That's a critique I would have of Hamas.
You agree that that's a violation of at least international custom.
What I was disagreeing with is that they don't take any precaution, and there's just no basis for that, right? To say they don't take any, and the reason, and I'm not trying to quibble or be pedantic here. I'm saying that there's plenty of evidence of Hamas doing the opposite. It's just if you point to the examples where they do, you can say, well, sure.
Oh, okay. Right? Okay. Could you give me some? I'm curious. Yeah,
I will. But let me circle back for one moment. Well, actually, let me answer so you don't think I'm avoiding it.
Sure.
There's a reasonable expectation again that if people are in a hospital, they're in El Shifa, they're in El Ahli, they're in these places, that they won't be struck. And the fact that there is a Hamas soldier in there or a Hamas affiliated person in this structure doesn't mean that you lose the protected status. It's a pretty high bar you have to meet to lose the protected status, and the burden of proof is on the established nation. So my point is the fact that civilians are encouraged to go to these locations is actually a sign that they won't be struck, is a desire not to be struck. Now you could make the case, one could make the case that they're deliberately telling civilians to go there because they won't be struck. Right, and that's a military tactic rather than, say, a philanthropic one or a generous one. We could debate that one way or the other, but nevertheless, the decision to have them go to those spaces is specifically because there was an expectation based on international law and convention that they wouldn't be struck. You mentioned El Shifa Hospital, though. When you look at the evidence of El Shifa Hospital, when you actually look at what was presented, the case that they made, not the drawings, not the cartoons, not the animations, but the actual evidence that they showed from El Shifa Hospital, there was not sufficient evidence. I saw little evidence to demonstrate that El Shifa Hospital was a command center. Could there have been a Hamas soldier underground? Of course there could have been. I'm sure there was.
Look,
right?
there's an AK
but in the most densely populated place in the world. There are going to be Hamas. There's literally no place from which Hamas could operate that would not have some civilians nearby. And that becomes part of Israel's argument, which again has been unsubstantiated by the international community, by human rights organizations, by the legal community, by the diplomatic community. There's been no persuasive case made that Hamas is fundamentally using human shields. It's a consistently made argument by Israel, but it hasn't actually been made. And if you look at Al Shifa Hospital, when you look at, for example, the photos they revealed, where you saw some handcuffs, a little bit of weapons, a box of dates, there's all this stuff, but there was no evidence that it was a command center. And
sorry, Mark, that's for thinking people. You have to recognize what you're arguing with, not who you're arguing with, but what you're arguing with. I'm sorry, just being honest. This guy is like, fuck my humanity. I am now a fucking automaton of cuntiness. All right, here we go.
The idea that because Hamas is there, we can bomb it is absolutely not true. I agree with you. Hospitals can lose protected status. They absolutely can. But none of the hospitals, even like in the last 48 hours, we've seen several hospitals struck. There have been shootings inside of El Amal Hospital and inside of another one in I believe, Khan Yunis. There's been no case that they've lost their protected status, and yet people have still been shot inside, or at least Israeli soldiers have shot inside of them. I don't know. The last report I saw was not necessarily that someone was killed, but they're shooting inside of them, which is a violation of international law. And so this idea that Israel has obeyed international law or been committed to it outside of their own statements.
As Destiny Googles, counterpoints to whatever Marc Lamont Hill is saying to me. He's just Googling that.
Is a bit puzzling to me, and the reason why I don't think
any
nation state on their face. It's not particular to Israel, but Israel has
actually hates his own experience,
in Protective Edge, in Cast-Led previously. If you just look at the last 3 so-called wars, they have consistently made claims that have never been proven and have often been proven to be not true later on.
So I find that there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to international law, and I feel like that's where most of these claims come from. So Hamas undeniably uses human shields. I know that Finkelstein puts forth this idea that a human shield is when you commandeer or you basically forcefully conscript a civilian to pick up a weapon and fight. Under international law, human shielding just means you're co-locating military objects with civilian objects. For us, for international customary law, it'd be Rule 97 on the ICRH website, or the.
I think that was shown in. Yeah. I think from the Article 85 of 70, Section 21, and blah 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 blah. By the way, there was I believe there's video of missiles firing from civilian areas in Israel during the whole Iran thing. Just saying. But, not substantiated, have no real proof of it because no one does actual investigations on that country for some reason. For some reason, they're allowed to, kind of get away with things. And it's usually, on the ground people that showcase what's actually happening. All right? But, don't worry, Destiny's on the case to tell us international law instead of using his fucking heart or conscience. He's not capable of doing that because he killed himself a long time ago. It's just a corpse walking around here. That's what it looks like to me. Sorry. I could be wrong. Maybe he lives his best life right now. But what I see is someone's just devoid. Just not there. Not like Candace Owens, a different type of devoid. His heart's broken. And he's too much of a coward to fight for his heart, fight back for his heart. He's too much of a coward of it. Versus Candace is I don't fucking need this thing. Just throws it out. Throws it away into the garbage can. Sorry, I have they're doing the factoid thing back and forth. I have to add some heart into this motherfucker, bro. Mark should be like, yo, are you full of shit, dude? Yo, man, you full of shit? At some point, I'm sure Mark's going to bring up a point where it's okay, there's no way around this. What do you say to that? And then that's when the Douglas Murray says, well, that's just war. What'd you say? 20,000 kids dead? That's just war. That's what happens in war. It's not a massacre. That's what happens. That's when you realize, oh, okay, you're full of shit. Gotcha. Not a gotcha, but I understand now. Got it. I would hope at least. Because doing factoids with some dumb fuck like Destiny is insane to me. It's insane to do. Yo, you're just fucking trash at this, bro. You're trash. All right, here we go.
Acknowledge the international.
People think that guy's fucking smart. Are you kidding me?
Red Cross customary law database. I think it's Rule 97. It's called human shields. Yeah. So co-location of military and civilian
memorize
objects is human
something?
shields. Now you can say that like, well, it's hard not
So
to use human
what?
shields in these areas. That's fine. I mean, there's stronger evidence of sometimes civilians in Gaza will move towards particular Israeli sites that they say they're going to strike. You've also got the fact that Hamas themselves said that they're going to use those hostages or put them in tunnels. So if Israel tries to attack the tunnels, that would be an example of human shielding. Also taking hostages is also contravention of international law.
Israel does that too.
So the other side is already breaking tons of international
will make sure
law.
that isn't the case.
On the Israeli side, again, I have to reiterate, and it sucks, and I know that it sucks, but civilians die in war. Typically, your international laws are going to prevent a party from either acting with like wanton recklessness or specifically targeting civilians for the sake of killing civilians. Killing civilians in and of itself is not a war crime. Killing civilians, even a lot of civilians, to kill a few combatants is also not a war crime. Targeting hospitals that are enemy combatants is also not a war crime.
What do you think about that, Jesse? What do you think about that?
I think it is. So I understand, like, like you were actually trying to bomb like an enemy, like you're at war. You guys are bombing each other back and forth. You're trying to take out a target, and there happened to be somebody that was a civilian that you just drove up to the base for some reason. Like people will die. That's that you're bombing shit, right? But like you can't just say like, well, like the way he worded it, because he's apparently going to law rules, and the way he worded it, if you're trying to just kill one person, it doesn't matter how many civilians die. Like if you replay that, like if you got one terrorist, you kill as many civilians as needed, right? And that is my interpretation of what I just heard him say, and that's bullshit. Like that's.
Oh no, he said it.
I don't know. I don't know the law, but it's just straight bullshit. Like it's not reasonable.
Well, you would say fuck the law at that point, right? If it's one terrorist taking a shit in an apartment building, right? You don't blow up the entire apartment building, right? That'd be like insanity, right? That'd be like, are you fucking okay, dude? Right?
Well, quoting that kind of law alone, like, why would you even quote that law as a justification? Because it's not that's not reasonable enough as a law to like say this is my standard. Like, and if you use that, you're just opening up the door to like saying a lot of things are okay. That's not. It's just not. Like, why would you use that rule? Like, okay, maybe the law is like that. That's fine. That's the law. But like,
some gamer dweeb on the internet.
Why would you act?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Why is some gamer dweeb on the internet saying like, well, this is okay because of international law?
Like, not illegal doesn't mean okay, right? Like, it's just that. But he's using it that way. Like that's what he's saying, that it's, what is it? He's saying it's not a war crime.
Well, Jesse, he's a smart guy, right? He's a very smart person, and his audience are also some of the smartest people ever because they understand what he's saying. So that's why.
Apparently, they don't.
No, I think they're like, okay, this is the law. We stick to the law, and we can understand the technicalities of the law and like interpret it in this way. Like they don't realize that they're actually like that these things are like malleable, right? They don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So thus they think the technicality is actually the most intellectual way of interpreting a situation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, maybe that kid was selling, candy bars for a school drive or selling Girl Scout cookies or Boy Scout cookies or whatever the fuck, but they were on his lawn, so he shot him. Right? You're on their lawn. They don't know who you are. You didn't identify yourself, and you walked on their fucking lawn, and they fucking shot you. And technically, according to the rules, you're allowed to do that. So it's all good. Which is like just a breeding ground of psychopathy. Let's be honest.
Yep.
Not saying they are. I'm just saying maybe they like because Destiny talks fast and memorizes things. They think that means intelligence. When I hear him talk, I'm like, this is one of the dumbest humans on planet fucking Earth. And don't worry, he doesn't have to actually deal with practicalities because he's fucking rich. You dummies. He doesn't deal with like normal life situations. He can pay his way through things. He doesn't have to deal with neighbors he doesn't like because he just buy a new fucking house. Fuck. Like, open your fucking ears and eyes, dude. Like, it's obvious. Fuck. Once again, I'm here to speak. Like, right now, I'm in a mode where I'm like, fuck the factoids. I mean, I can counter Destiny as well. Once again, but granted, I have, hindsight, right? I have all the information that we have right now in 2025. But I'm sorry. Sometimes you gotta let the heart out. You gotta let the heart sing. And this fool got no fucking heart. Destiny. I don't smell a fucking whiff of soul on that fool, bro. Not calling him a psycho or soulless or evil or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, he's too much of a coward to use it. That's what I'm fucking saying. Just nothing but dread and trash. That's what I smell from this fool. Now, I could be wrong, obviously, but that's what I'm smelling right now. And I'm letting it be known. Sometimes you gotta put factoids away and be like, yo, man, you fucking lying? If you're lying, why the fuck you lying for? Otherwise, they just keep going with more factoids and debate someone else with factoids. Like, yo, what are we doing here? Is this a fucking dance? What did Seb say? Or Seb's and someone else. Maybe you said it too, Jesse. But yeah, we doing the fucking, like, fucking dance thing with each other? Or is this about, like, actual feet on the ground life? Skin in the game life? Fuck, bro. Once again, little fuck boys and fuck girls won't know what the fuck I'm saying right now, but I hope people with a heart can see what I'm saying. You do not need to be armed with all the information in the world to debate Destiny. Like, yo, man, you fucking lying to me? And where's your fucking heart at? Where's your empathy at? When you hear him pivot to fucking technicalities, it's like, ugh. That's fucking gross. I don't know anyone like that in my fucking life. And thank God. I mean, granted, I can talk to anyone personally, but I'm just saying, like, regular people, right? Fuck. Alright, here we go.
Party from either acting with like wanton recklessness or specifically targeting civilians for the sake of killing civilians. Killing civilians in and of itself is not a war crime. Killing civilians, even a lot of civilians, to kill a few combatants is also not a war crime.
Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Well, technically, it's not a war crime, according to international law, Article 5, Section 21. Like, who talks like that? Is this a fucking thought experiment, or are like people actually dying? Oh, people are actually dying? Like whole families dying? There's no way you handle it like this, right? Unless you work for the fucking State Department, obviously. Sorry for pausing again. Here you go.
For the sake of killing civilians.
Someone needs to fucking
killing
say
civilians in and of itself is not a war crime.
Who talks like this?
Killing civilians, even a lot of civilians, to kill a few combatants is also not a war crime. Targeting hospitals that are housing enemy combatants is also not a war crime.
Who talks like this?
Any protection that you might have as a civilian building or a hospital instantly ceases to exist once military objects are being co-located within that location.
And I'm saying that's not true. That's simply not true. So there are a few things that are.
Wait. Yeah, which part of that was
still wrong about it too?
We can be very precise.
The co-location of a military object does not ipso facto disqualify a site as a as a military site, by that argument, if a single Hamas soldier were to walk into a children's hospital in Gaza, you're saying that we could then bomb the hospital?
No, wait. I didn't say you could bomb the hospital. So the hospital loses. So ordinarily in times of war, you're never supposed to attack a hospital as long as it's a civilian object. Now, once a single military combatant has started to use that hospital, now you're required to engage it as a military target, but you still have to keep in mind the rules of proportionality. Meaning if one soldier goes in there and there's 100,000 dying leukemia children cancer patients, probably you can't destroy that building because...
No, but that's the point. That's the point I'm getting at, right? Because a moment ago you said, well, killing an individual's killing a bunch of civilians in order to get one combatant is not a war crime as such.
Yeah, he picked up on that too.
That was
correct.
And so in the example that you're giving right now, where that's why I picked up that example and said, okay, so now you have a single Hamas soldier inside of a hospital. I'm saying, first of all, I'm disputing the premise that simply by virtue of that Hamas soldier walking into a hospital, the hospital no longer has protected status. That is absolutely not.
Well, when you say walk,
Akbar, this is my bathroom. Get the fuck out. It's mine. I have to take a major shit. I'm now occupying this bathroom. Israel's like, all right, we can bomb the whole fucking place now. It's co-occupied now. We can bomb it all. Sorry, gallows humor. Here you go.
Has protected status. That is absolutely not.
Well, when you say walk into a hospital, what do you mean when you say this? Like, is he taking there as a sick person, or is he walking there as a civilian, or is he going there as an active combatant? Well, because if he goes in as an active combatant, it is now a military target. Yes.
But how do you? So two things. If he walks in as a patient, you absolutely can't shoot him.
Correct, because it's, what is it, Horrors Day Combat, I think, is for people that are no longer like active threats. That would include even a ton of military people that are no longer active threats.
Which we saw just 10 days ago, or about 10 days ago. There was someone in a hospital bed who was killed.
Yeah, right? but that's a little bit different. Horrors Day Combat, I think, implies that you no longer have the ability to participate in military activity. The people that were killed in the hospital were military commanders. They can still operate from a hospital bed.
This is, Mark, this is your moment right now, where now you realize, now you see what you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with a fucking ghoul. A lost fucking soul who's walking through purgatory. You can see it now, right, Mark? Like, well, they can spit orders from the hospital bed, so thus it is actually occupied by the military now. It's occupied by Hamas. We can bomb it all. Mark must be... I'm sure he's going to intellectualize. From what I've heard from this guy, he's going to intellectualize. I understand that. I'm not so mad at that. I understand. Like, you want to like, just be correct. You'll hear me that I'm correct, so thus you won't listen to this dumb fuck. But I think his heart just jumped out of his chest saying, like, excuse me? And guess what? I think Destiny's the type of guy where it's like, well, what if we just trade you out with one of these fucking, in a fucking, Khan Yunis fucking hospital, and you get fucking bombed? He might be like, fuck, might as well. He might be one of those fucking guys. You're dealing with some lost soul who forgot their purpose, just walking through fucking purgatory. That's where this guy is. Look at this sad puppy who said that with a blank face. Not a psychopathic Candace Owens style where it's like, well, they should have never went to the hospital then, huh? Right? Instead, it's like they could be commanding from the hospital bed, He just hates himself. This guy hates himself, dude. I'm sorry. This fool's like, fuck life. And he's like, but I gotta make some money, so I'll do what I gotta do. Like, this fool's such a sad person. Look at this sad human. Look at him. I'm sorry. Look at this fool, bro. Sad fucking human. Look what he just said, dude. He just said... It's like, well, technically that didn't count because those guys were commanders and they can give orders while they're laying in the hospital bed, bleeding from their chest. It's like, yo, shoot them. See, look, he gave an order. Bomb the whole fucking hospital now.
About 10 days ago, there was someone in a hospital bed who was killed.
Yeah, right? but that's a little bit different. Overstay combat, I think, implies that you no longer have the ability to participate in military activity. The people that were killed in the hospital were military commanders. They can still operate from a hospital bed.
One person wasn't conscious.
He might not have been, but I think the other two were. Yeah.
So
so because one was conscious. Sorry, I'm gonna let this run.
From a hospital.
Mark's wrecked.
One person wasn't conscious.
He might not have been, but I think the other two were. Yeah.
So let's concede that the other two were. How is killing the one who's unconscious not a war crime?
I would have to dig into the specifics of that. I feel like I read something. There's a difference between somebody being under treatment versus just being unconscious. Like if they were unconscious and they woke up and then they were undergoing treatment, then you would say that this person is no longer military. Like the Horseday combat has been met.
Do I need to even say anything for that one? Look at him jibber jabber around. Like, well, no, actually, it was okay, but I'm wrecked. I'm gonna just let that play. I think this is where Silver was going with this. He's like, "Yo, just listen to this. Listen to this." It's like Mark is stunned. By the way, he is stun locked. He's like, what? This is when. Sorry, Mark. You got all the facts and all. You got the factoids and all that shit. You got the information. I think he's a well-meaning guy. I've heard, once again, I've heard this guy before. I think he's truly well-meaning. But tag Jordan in and let me shit talk this fool. Let me see if I get an emotional reaction. If I don't get one, we're dealing with a ghoul. Holy fuck. We're dealing with a straight ghoul walking through purgatory, waiting to die, just waiting when the time runs out. Fuck. All right, let's hear jibber jabber. Say nothing. Here we go.
So let's concede that the other two were. How is killing the one who's unconscious not a war crime?
I would have to dig into the specifics of that. I feel like I read something. There's a difference between somebody being under treatment versus just being unconscious. Like if they were unconscious and they woke up and then they were undergoing treatment, then you would say that this person is no longer military. Like the Horseday combat has been met. But if a person's just unconscious and you're retreating, for instance, you can kill an unconscious soldier. If somebody's unconscious and brought to a hospital, and the assumption is as soon as they wake up, they're going to resume military operations. That person is still a fair target until they're up and then just in bed receiving treatment and removed from combat operations.
There have been conflicting reports about the person's health, so
they're a target.
I won't.
If they're unconscious, why don't you just arrest them, capture them?
Fuck.
Why do you have to Yeah, it's crazy.
Just put a pillow over his face. You could have just killed him that way. No, let's just shoot a rocket at it. Fuck it. There's no cares for it. You could see he's he's searching for the answer to make it okay, which should be the scariest thing on planet Earth, right?
Yeah, he wants it to be okay.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, I don't know if he wants anything. This guy's a fucking ghoul walking around here, bro.
Well, he wants to, at least in this argumentation, he wants it to be okay. Whether he actually wants it, I don't know.
In words.
But that would mean he's trying to deceive people. But at least in words, he wants it to be okay.
I mean, that is ridiculous. That is straight ridiculous. It's okay because of that he finds his thread. He's like, but starts jibber jabbering again, right? Goes back to straight jibber jabbering. Hey, this guy's so foolish. And I know Mark's stunned, but he's like, I also got you too, which could distract from the stunness, right? Mark's like, I got you, but he's also probably stunned too. He's like, what?
Horseday combat has been met. But if a person's just unconscious and you're retreating, for instance, you can kill an unconscious soldier. If somebody's unconscious and brought to a hospital, and the assumption is as soon as they wake up, they're going to resume military operations.
Technicalities of killing people.
A fair target until they're up and then just in bed receiving treatment and removed from combat operations.
There have been conflicting reports about the person's health, so I won't hang my hat on their specific health condition.
Keep in mind, let me just say,
that's Mark saying, I know I just wrecked you, and okay, fine. That's Mark saying, I just, destroyed you, and you have no idea what the fuck you were talking about. You just got wrecked because you're arguing backwards from a point you want, trying to make work. And it's just fuck. I get it, Mark, but part of me is like, yo, who the fuck are you, Destiny? Excuse me? Fucking anti-life, motherfucker, bro. Anti-life. Because he's fucking dead inside or some shit.
Let me just say this, because for
guess
a lot
what?
of
He
this, for a lot of
deserved
people,
every second of my
it
shit I'm
feels
saying
wrong
to
and
him.
it feels bad.
Or about him.
All
Deserves
four
it, bro.
Geneva Conventions, which is where a lot of these rules come from, all four of these Geneva Conventions required sign-off from every single country in the world. So when you envision, I'm not saying you necessarily, but everybody listen, when you're envisioning international law, what you have to think is, what will countries sign on to that still allows them to conduct warfare while acknowledging that we all need some kind of playbook so that we're not constantly all genociding each other or just murdering civilians, with reckless intent, right?
I think Mark's saying the same thing, you dummy.
Right? If an enemy commander on the field is knocked unconscious, and then an army is retreating, the idea that well, you can't shoot them, they're retreating, that's not true. You want to be able to rout and destroy an army that's retreating if they haven't explicitly surrendered. Just because
Do I need to say anything for that one? I get the technicalities. I get it. I understand that part. But it's okay, we're pulling this to real life scenarios here, Destiny. Right? What are you okay with? Come on, man. Come on. How the fuck is this guy rich and famous off of this shit? This is the fucking product out here? Get the fuck out of here. This is the fucking guy? Get the fuck out of here. This guy's full of shit, bro. Just empty fucking ghoul fucking water tank with no fucking water in it. The fuck? Who the fuck is this guy? Get the fuck out. Alright, here we go. Sorry, but we're in shit talking territory. This guy's full of shit, bro. Full of it. Sorry, empty of shit. He's full of empty shit. Say it that way. Here we go.
With reckless intent, right?
Right.
So being able to conduct war, right? If an enemy commander on the field is knocked unconscious, and then an army is retreating, the idea that well, you can't shoot them,
technicality.
That's not true. You want to be able to rout and destroy an army that's retreating if they haven't explicitly surrendered. Just because a commander is in bed or he's knocked out and he's going to wake up and start commanding immediately, you don't want to lose the ability to attack enemy commanders unless he's officially completely removed from command, decommissioned or whatever. Countries still need to be able to conduct war. It sucks sometimes. There are going to be military targets that are going to have civilians killed, but that's part and parcel of war, which sucks. But yeah,
like a video game.
Yeah,
right, Destiny.
I think that is a oddly generous.
Once again, if you say, "Yo, Destiny, go out there," it's part of war, man. It's okay. Go ahead, do it. He might be okay with that because there's just no one home right now. Not saying a psychopath. I'm saying someone so deep within their own shit that he might be like, fuck it. If I die, I die. Fuck it. I don't care. He's apathetic towards his own fucking existence, probably. It's a big house, no one in it. Here we go.
Reading of international law that seems to be in contradiction with all the spirit and sort of convention of these laws. To be specific, retreating soldiers, people waving a white flag, people in hospitals, people unconscious.
Different things there. So if a soldier is able to surrender to you,
I'm deliberately naming. I'm not piling these all together. I'm saying these are all.
Because I'm gonna say retreating soldiers are fair game. White flag soldiers shouldn't be fair game. So when Israel shot the 3 guys coming out with they were waving the white flags, that my understanding is that's not fair game. But yeah,
no, that would absolutely not be fair game. I was naming 4 things that I think are all examples, and I was going to unpack each one of them. I understand you think that one of these things is not
I memorize the rule and I follow it.
I'm saying I lump those all together. I think international law does too.
I don't use my heart at all.
If we just focus on, and I don't want to get too hemmed up on this hospital bed thing, but I think it's a perfect example. As is, and you'll probably also disagree again, but I think also coming in dressed as a doctor is also a violation of international law, right? Which is and this isn't this just for those that are watching this. This isn't just a hypothetical. This is literally what happened, right? They come into the hospital dressed as medical personnel, right? People are in the hospital presumably to get treatment, and they're killed.
Sorry.
Both of the so come into the as is, and you'll probably also.
I have not heard this story, so I don't want to step on this. What the fuck you got up your fucking sleeve? Here we go.
Disagree again, but I think also coming in dressed as a doctor is also a violation of international law, right? Which and this isn't this just for those that are watching this. This isn't just a hypothetical. This is literally what happened, right? They come into the hospital dressed as medical personnel, right? People are in the hospital presumably to get treatment, and they're killed, right? Both the pretending to be medical staff as well as the actual killing. I'm saying both are examples of war crimes. But just to take it a step back for a moment, just so we don't get, and we feel free to respond to that. But as we take just to take a step back again, my point is the targeting of the hospital itself as a site of violence, as a site of shelling, as a site of bombing, etc. I'm saying is a war crime, not just because there are casualties, because casualties are going to happen. I think we agree on that. But Israel has the military capacity not to do that.
Not to have any civilian casualties?
No. Not to do indiscriminate bombing. Israel's getting, whether it's carpet bombing, whether it's hitting a whole, the idea that, well, there's these two, we have intelligence that there are two Hamas commanders inside of this hospital. We don't want them to get away. The hospital is no longer a safe zone based on the International Red Cross standard. And so therefore we can attack the hospital. I'm saying, even if I concede at that point, the type of bombing and the scale of the bombing is inconsistent with the spirit of preventing civilian death. So to
be clear, all Israel has to do is give adequate forewarning. That's the only obligation they have under international law, is to give adequate forewarning and then to do a proportionality calculation when it comes.
I want to say I'm stunned, but I'm not. He's like, yeah, the spirit of the spirit of the rule. The point of it, right? The point is to avoid civilian death, right? That's the point of it. That's the spirit of it, right? Okay, make things where it's we're not just it's army guy versus army guy, right? That's the spirit of the rule, essentially. I don't like it, but that's the spirit of the rule that they made. And obviously, once again, correctly saying from Marc Lamont Hill, the types of bombings that happen when it's civilian areas, like schools and hospitals, and now so with tent cities and all that stuff. No, this is not in the spirit of trying to protect civilians and get the bad guy. It's in the spirit of get them all. And if someone questions it, just say they're Hamas. Just like that, those 15 fucking medical workers, right? The ones that got thrown in a shallow grave, and the ambulance too, thrown in a fucking shallow grave. Just say it was Hamas the whole time, but then you find out it's not, and then it's well, don't worry, we fired the guy that was the commander of it. But not because he did something criminal, but because, he fucked up. He made a mistake, so he's fired. Same difference. And that's oh wait, if you don't realize that there's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can say. To where he's well, all right, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these guys are on the wrong side of history. Once you realize you can't get that answer from this guy, it's what? That's the time to start examining, what the fuck am I dealing with? Is this a guy honestly debating? Or is this a ghoul who wrecked himself a long time ago? It's an empty shell of a fucking person, just lost his smile, motherfucker. Just waltzing around an empty fucking mansion by himself. At some point, you have to fucking realize that. I'm sorry. Or at the very least, question it. I'm not even saying that's the case. I'm just saying, it's worth questioning. Are you just OCDing towards, damn, how do I make this correct? You know what I mean? Like the hyper analytical person, like, how do I make this correct? Seems like a challenge. Wow, I like challenges. Let me solve this puzzle. Right? Versus like, yo, this is not a game. This is not a game at all. I'll rewind and hear this response again from Destiny. But I think it's kind of on the obvious side. But here we go.
Consistent with the spirit of preventing civilian deaths. So,
to be clear, all Israel has to do is give adequate forewarning.
Oh, that's solve the puzzle?
Only obligation they have under international laws.
Oh, to solve the puzzle, Destiny. Yeah, to solve the puzzle, all Israel has to do is, well, all they do is like, you know, plant some crack on the body and be like, well, you know, he's a crackhead. That's why he's dead in a fucking alley, and thus no murder. Right? He's explaining how to get away with murder, essentially, as like an analytical. Maybe it's a psychological disorder thing he's got going on, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. Like, yo, let me like solve like how to get away with this. Like, how to get away with this? Let me explain it. That's what it sounds like. Fuck my life, dude. All right, whatever. Here we go. Here's more. Sorry, Silver. I'm probably going past your marker. Probably am, but here we go.
Of preventing civilian deaths. So, to
be clear, all Israel has to do is give adequate forewarning. That's the only obligation they have under international laws, to give adequate
all they do is like
and then to
bleach
do a
the crime scene
when it comes
what's
to
adequate. What would adequate warning be in a hospital where people are unconscious, or like at a shift where there are premature babies, in a hospital where there are elderly people, and in a machine where there are people who are tied to machines? What would adequate warning be?
I mean, that's going to vary from situation to situation. But
I'm saying in this specific situation.
I mean, in this specific situation, I mean, has Israel like full on bombed a hospital?
Yo, he turned it. He turned it.
Al Shifa.
Oh. That's the one from like 3 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Let me make a note of that. Besides Al Shifa, have they bombed any hospitals?
I mean,
let me make a debate note.
Oh my fucking god, dude! Jesse, what did you see right there? What did you say?
I heard him informed about a hospital being bombed, and he wanted to make a debate note. Like that was his reaction. Let me make a note of that.
But wait a minute. What about the other hospitals? What about that? Like, is that not like dishonest? Right? Is that not dishonest?
Yeah.
Like it is. Clear as day dishonest.
Yeah.
A thing to do.
Yeah, you mean like when earlier we were like, well, you know, it's possible he might not be aware of some things because of, you know, like the time frame when this happened, this debate was. But like right now, he hears this happen. He didn't deny it. He didn't say no, that's not true. Like he wasn't. He sounded a little bit surprised, but he's now thinking about how to structure his argument to keep pushing the same thing.
It sounds like he's
ignoring
the puzzle.
The people, the hospital people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. This is an actual thing. It's not. It's not really a debate, right? Like it's the topic is something that's happening.
It's like, what's his name?
Like every day.
Is it Kevin from Devil's Advocate? Where he's like, I don't lose, I win. I don't lose. Except with less passion, less heart, less care. That's Destiny, right? He's like, damn, I need to solve this puzzle and make sure. Like, how can I make this like a win somehow? Like, not even for him, for the topic. There's some sort of like hype, like over the top, hyper analytical mindset towards like there's no care about the topic. It's just about like, damn, how do I figure this one out? It's OJ with the knife in his hand at the crime scene. He's like, damn, how do I make this work? How do I make this like? How do I make him innocent? If that was my goal, how do I do that? Like a game, like a puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
Except with less heart. Fuck. God, he's horrendous. He is terrible at this. Fuck my life. All right, let's hear more. I suspect that this is the. Like, I'm like basically on the timestamp. I think it was 2541 was the timestamp. Where it's like, yo, just make it here. It's like, well, we made it here, and now I'm going to keep going, at least for a little bit more. Just for a little bit more, at least. Here we go.
I would say yes, but again, if our premise is that they haven't committed any international laws, it's not you don't get a free one, right?
Well,
so,
so the precautions and attacks are important. This comes under Article 57 of the additional Protocol 1.
Come on.
Of Geneva Convention. Taking precautions are important, but like they don't spell out exactly what has to happen, right? Like the wordage or the verbiage here is like, do everything feasible to verify that the objectives to be attacked are neither civilians nor civilian objects that are not subject to special protections, but are military objectives within the meaning of paragraph 2 of Article 52, and that is not prohibited by the revisions to the protocol to attack them. So they have to make sure that it's a military target, meaning there's some military personnel there. And then it says you have to take all feasible precautions.
I think
means and methods.
It's fair game to like to just walk over and punch him in the face, and then. And it's like, well, you know, like I'm not going to jail for this. So, I mean, technically, I can do this. I can do it. Oh, you think it's illegal? No, well, I can tell you why it's not. And now that it's just a punch in the face and it's not like just murdering you, like it seems pretty small in comparison.
It's like, what is self-defense? I mean, you looked at me like a weird way, Destiny, so I had to like, I didn't like that, and then it's like, the technicalities and the dancing around. This looks like an empty puzzle to solve.
I really think he should be punched in the face just so he could feel something.
I don't know if he's gonna feel that, Jesse. I don't know.
No, like so he could feel the physical pain and be like, oh, we were just talking. Let's go back to talking about like murdering people because that's. You know, like I think he might see it a little different after that.
That might not be enough, Jesse. That might not be enough. This guy, I swear to God, I think this guy hates himself, and he's just like a ghoul, like a ghoul waiting for like some sort of redemption moment to come back to life. You know, so something like beautiful to bring him back to life. It's just missing in his existence right now, and he's just like, "Oh fuck! No, I guess I make money off doing this. Fuck it, I'll do
it." I think, like, and now obviously I'm not like wanting. I may want to punch him in the face, but I don't want to like hurt the guy. But what I was trying to say is like, he's talking about like laws and like very abstract things. Like,
yeah.
If he was just like, I mean, okay, he didn't know maybe that the hospital got bombed, but if he could see this more vividly, like either actually see it happen or just be there, not get hurt, and just be there, like witness some stuff, like just something that can make this not like an algebra formula or you know like something you just kind of read and discuss. Like I think the way he's talking about it, there's nothing tangible. Like it's not real world type of stuff.
It's a game of Risk, almost.
Like that, yeah. Like okay, what's the strategy here? The strategy is like okay, we could maneuver the laws. They say this, so according to the playbook, our best strategy to do whatever the actual goal is to do this, or how do we get away with it? Is we do this? Yeah, that's different than actually like bombing people.
fuck my life. This was a great video to pick out. Because it actually showcases so much. This fool is so over the, like, I'm telling you, like, next worldly analytical as far as, like, his, at least words he's saying out loud, that he's, like, it's now magical thinking and, like, actually abstract. Because us understanding, like, someone being like, fuck, you're in a hospital, can't go, you got machines tied to you, right? Like, or, like, you know, fucking, needles and fucking tubes in your arms and all that shit, right? You can't go anywhere. And, like, okay, imagine, like, a bomb goes off next to you, or bullets fired in the hospital near, like, in the room next to you, or something, like, whatever it is, right? Shelling. Where it's like, that seems less abstract than what Destiny is saying about international fucking law. Like, that sounds actually abstract of a scenario. That was a perfect word, Jesse. Like, that is actually, like, way more abstract than, like, the idea of, like, someone being punched in the face. Like you said. Like, it's like, I can, like, actually tangibly understand and feel what that feels like in a way, in my imagination. Versus the technicalities of fucking Article 51, Section 21. It's like, wait a minute, that sounds like absolutely, like, magical abstraction, not actually happening in reality. It's actually incredible. But guess what? There are people that probably watch Destiny and think, like, oh my god, he's so to the T, like, every little thing that humans have made up throughout time. He is so to the T of memorizing those things that must be, like, the most accurate version of life. Meanwhile, no, not actually. You know, like, to me, that's a fucking dangerous mindset. By the way, it's very dangerous. That is, like, almost what you would think of, like, neoliberalism in a way. Of, like, Obama's like, okay, we'll fund these guys, and then they'll destabilize, and then boom, this guy will fall, and then we will present a new rational leader of Syria, and then, right? It's like so hyper rational that it's, like, actually magical thinking. Like, wait a minute, people don't act like that, actually. And then you, like, anyone even trying to study that shit, like, you're not gonna actually capture, unless you can, like, move with it, like, this abstract, like, an actual healthy abstract way. But this magical thinking of the way humans behave and the way the world works, get the fuck out of here. You sounds like nonsense. And that's what Destiny sounds like. Straight nonsense. He's now spitting out factoids about articles of international law in regards to crimes against humanity. And somehow he can't see the thing that's right in front of everyone's fucking faces. Even in 2024. Right? People in 2024 could see, like, the crimes right in their faces. It's all over the fucking internet. But somehow Destiny's like, yo, don't worry. It's like, no, actually, that's okay because of Article 51 of international law. That's why this incident right here, it's okay. That is fine. It's, like, embarrassingly bad. Like, all right, whatever. Let's play more, I guess. There we go.
Of attack with a view to avoiding and in any event to minimizing incidental loss of civilian life, injury to civilians, and damage to civilian objects. All you have to do is, like, your best. That's really all it says.
Yeah,
like,
right. Again, I think
I'm just saying that, like, nothing. There's nothing that explicitly calls out what you have to do, and Israel goes above and beyond. There is no other fighting force in the world.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Destiny is lying. He's paid. That statement right there, I think that guy's, like, he's actually paid to do this, and he doesn't care anyways, right? He's paid. Israel actually is the #1 army in the world or government, military action, government in the world to actually look after civilians. They're actually #1 ranked. Like, that is a talking point. That is Douglas Murray. This guy is fuck my life, dude. Fuck my life. Here we go.
I think
I'm just saying that
nothing.
there's nothing that explicitly calls out what you have to do, and Israel goes above and beyond. There is no other fighting force in the world.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, what I'm about to say. No other fighting force in the world does what Israel does when it comes to warning people about imminent attacks. Nobody else in the world does that.
Okay.
Like, if you want, you can name one, but nobody else in the world goes to that level to like make phone calls to buildings telling them that like, hey, like Israel literally has phone teams to call people. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, they control
I disagree with that claim, but my point is the standard in international law is not to compare it to all other people. If I said if all other nations were war criminals, right? You know, and let's say you and let me make it concrete. If you and I agree that 5 hours is enough time to tell people, right? And we found out that every other nation in the world gives you 2 hours. We say, okay, they're all war criminals. And then if Israel does 2.5 hours, they'd still be war criminals, even if they go above and beyond every other nation. So I'm saying it's actually not proper to point to other nations as the comparator.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, but I mean, like, as a matter of international customary law, I mean, we kind of do. We look at, like, how does everybody act? What do we all agree on the rules? And if nobody else is taking the level of precautions that Israel is, it's hard to say that, like, Israel isn't taking enough precautions, right?
Unless we agree that no nation takes enough precautions, right?
International customary law basically works by looking collectively at what we all agree to do. So if nobody takes precautions, then international customary law would say that, like, well, I guess we probably don't have to take that many precautions. Nobody seems to be doing it. You wouldn't hold.
Mark, this is when you ask him, like, well, what do you think? Your Destiny, what do you think? Is this okay? And once again, if they're full of shit, they're going to say, like, well, no, I follow, international law that I just explained actually means nothing. I'm explaining international law means, like, through argumentation, Destiny is agreeing, like, yeah, okay, it means nothing, actually. So that if you ask Destiny, what do you think, Destiny? Is what they're doing okay? Well, it's okay based on international law. It's like, wait a minute. Right? That should be like an eye-opening experience, I would say, for a moment. But here you go.
One nation to an exemplary standard, saying.
And I don't think we should. And I don't think we should hold one nation to an exemplary standard. Yeah,
sure. But I'm just saying that, like, do we agree? Does any other nation give the amount of warning that Israel does when it comes to attacking civilian areas? Does any?
Yeah,
he's trying to win.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at and also I would say most nations don't attack civilian areas with the same consistency that Israel does. Now, part of that again is.
Well, wait. I'm curious. Who takes that level of precaution?
Well, maybe not for civilians, but yeah, actually, yes, for civilians, but also military personnel. We just saw, once again, hindsight, right? We've seen it already, but Iran gave a hefty warning. I think the U.S. gave a hefty warning to Iran too, of like, yo, get out of here. We're gonna bomb this, right? So, and they gave, like, apparently ample time, like ample time, where everyone could like actually clear out, like, straight up, and it's just like kind of infrastructure that gets destroyed instead of, like, people. All right, so yeah, there are, well, maybe hindsight, maybe never before this.
No, Iran did that the Trump's first term too.
Oh shit, with Soleimani. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as a response to Soleimani, they had to do something, but they gave a lot of heads up warning so that, like, actual time, like enough time to leave. Yeah.
Damn, and that wasn't even civilians, was it? That was military personnel.
It was military.
Damn, man, that's like kind of extra.
It will, yeah. To Destiny's point, because the goal really was not to kill the people, right? Like, that wasn't their point. So they could, like, they could find ways to not kill people.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, but no one gives a better warning than Israel. What about those food lines right now, like, happening now in Israel? I mean, we already knew already, like, with Gaza. We already know that Destiny's arguments are absolute bullshit, and they do massacre people on a mass scale. For sure, they do that. But now we have even more extra blatant, where it's like, now we know there's no Hamas. There's no one there with weapons, according to the IDF themselves. There's no one there with weapons, and yet people are dying in large numbers, seeking food. There is no way around it. Now, once again, for me personally, I already got this motherfucker down. I already got him, right? Destiny. Like, okay, I don't need that drastic scenario to be like, you're full of shit. And something's wrong with you, man. Like, you got like some sort of pathology or some mental illness, or something going on with you, man. Like, actually, you got something wrong with you. I can see it. You got something wrong with you. But, you know, hindsight doesn't help either. As time goes by and the events go by, it just proves more that this guy knows nothing of what he's talking about, and there is no actual care about people. Seemingly. So there it is. But yeah, I'd be able to tell way back when, if I ever saw this. I'd be like, I can tell you're full of shit. Your fans will fight me on that, and then we'll fast forward to 2025 and be like, well, Jordan was right, but don't worry, they'll never come back and tell me. Like, damn, I just figured out like Destiny's full of shit. They may stick with them longer out of pride or something. Like, ooh. Sounds dangerous or disgusting. Then again, here we are. Go ahead, Jesse. I think you wanted to say something, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, here we go. There's more. Like, I'm playing more. Like, this is crazy, actually. Here we go.
You know, if you look, for example, at and I'm not defending the United States at all,
sure.
Right?
Don't
but the United States, but it's I hate defending the United States, but absolutely, the United States takes precaution before.
We take precaution, but not at we weren't making phone calls to houses. We dropped a ton of leaflets. Was this for Mosul or Fallujah? We dropped a ton. No, it's not. Sartor? I want to say it was the. There's one of these a good one, but like we'll drop leaflets. What?
Yeah. I think you mean Southern, yeah.
Yeah, might have been, yeah. We'll drop a bunch of leaflets, but I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, the siege of Sadr City. I'm pretty sure after we dropped the leaflets for that,
what's this camera shit?
I don't know how many days was it to leave.
Is that AI?
After that, we were like, listen, if you're still in the city, you're fair game.
Right, but if you look at the first move in Gaza, it wasn't a couple of days. It was hours. That's my point.
No, it was. There was, a false report that it was 24 hours. That was never stated by the Israeli military. Some people ran with that headline.
But people on the ground, again, if you're saying that if Israel says it didn't happen, then we're going to be at an impasse. But people on the ground in northern Gaza talked about getting hit 24 hours later. That's the point I'm making.
It wasn't 24 hours for every single person to evacuate. There might have been some attacks that happened maybe before 24 hours, but again, none of that is a violation of international law. They have a right to strike back if they're at war with Hamas. They have that right to do it. When Israel is providing advance notice, it's to minimize civilian casualties, not to reduce them to zero. There might still be military targets in the south. They might conduct operations in the north before every civilian is evacuated. All they're required to do is give about as much notice as they feel is reasonable, and then from there, they're allowed to begin fighting. Like, that's how wars go.
At this point, it's a fucking joke. All right? It's a fucking joke at this point. Before, there's like time limits and shit like that, and they're the best at warning people beforehand. And then when you say like, well, they're not the best at that. They don't give the most amount of time for civilians to like exit the area. It's like, well, that's war, and they're engaging a combatant, so yes, they can just go whenever time they want to, whatever time they see fit, according to Destiny. Right? So it's like, you're a fucking liar. Someone has to do that with these guys, man. I'm sorry. Dave Smith with fucking, what's his name? Hammer, Josh Hammer. Like, someone has to be like, yo, stop, bro. Are you a fucking liar? Are you full of shit, dude? Mark needs to be doing that with this fucking guy. He really does need to be doing that. Like, yo, I gave you argument after argument after argument. There's arguments where you didn't even fucking know anything about it. And you're still arguing from one standpoint. Still. What else proof do you need? You're full of shit. Like, yo, should you be doing this? Like, yo, can you quit? Like, never do this again, please? I beg you to, like, leave. Granted, I knew this about Destiny back when Ryan Dawson smushed his shit. Pause. Yes, pause. Like, he destroyed this fool about, like, Syria and Clinton involved with Syria and all that stuff. Granted, the outcome was not the greatest for where Ryan Dawson was going, but on foreign policy, he destroyed this fucking idiot. Did he learn a lesson? Of course not. Destiny's not here to learn anything. He's here to lie to you, you fucking idiots. If you watch Destiny, you're fucking getting lied to. Sorry, you can watch him, but like, I'm sorry. If you fall for what he's saying, the narratives, the narratives he's spinning, if you fall for that, you're a fucking idiot. You're dumb as shit. Someone needs to fucking tell you. Because Marc Lamont Hill is going to be nice about it. Because he's probably like a nice guy. He's going to be nice and be like, oh, well, you're ignorant on the situation. Let me explain it to you. I'm not doing that right now. We are in Gordon Ramsay time. This guy's a fucking idiot. He needs to leave the fucking kitchen. He can't cook. He knows all the recipes by fucking memory, but can't actually do it himself. What did they say on Hell's Kitchen? He can't burn. He can't work the fucking line. He's trash. He's a pseudo-intellectual who memorized some shit. When he tries to actually make a meal, he's trash. And that's what he's doing here, metaphorically speaking. That's what he's doing. He's giving you nonsense and nothing. He's giving you Google recipes for shit. He's trash. Nothing creative, nothing actually interesting either. Like, who the fuck is watching this guy? Fuck, man. I'm sorry to, like, just seethe about it, but, like, it is what it is. Who the fuck watches this guy and, like, gets something out of it? Like, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, that someone who does watch it sees this.
They're not,
so they can explain. I know it's not like likely, but if they could explain it, or yeah, I would be very curious.
When's this from?
To see someone try to defend this.
May last year, right? I'm sorry, Destiny fans probably just like this was probably like live or whatever the fuck in real time back then, but now it's like gone because, well, okay, I'll say fair enough, because a lot of people are here for entertainment. They're not here for actual. Once again, until a bullet hole hits their fucking arms, they don't give a fuck. They're like, oh my god, the world hurts. Oh fuck. Until that happens, nothing. It's unfortunate, but that's what usually happens. People with no fucking life experience, no real life experience. You know what I'm saying? Like actual skin in the game, feet on the ground life experience. Fuck my life. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know, they'd quit YellBro in like a day. Like those type, like they're gone in a day. Oh my god, you're saying that? I'm out of here. It's like, why are you? I'd be like, don't run. Like, stick around. You don't like it? Say you don't like it. Keep it moving. But instead, you know, cowardice is the order of the day, apparently. But here we go. A little bit more. Then I'm done.
And again, I think to reiterate, nobody has given the level of preparation for civilian targets. Russia doesn't. Even the United States doesn't. Ukraine doesn't. Literally nobody gives this level of notice to targets and areas before they begin conducting warfare. Nobody on the planet. Nobody does.
Where we disagree is on two things. One, I disagree with the amount of notice that you're saying they're giving. I'm saying, and second, even when the notice is given, I'm saying those areas are struck. So in every instance where they were told there was a humanitarian corridor in the south, they were struck. People's cars and buildings were struck going south when they were told to go from the north
Yep.
to the south.
There's nothing illegal about any of that. The idea is,
So
listen,
what?
the most active areas are going to be in the north. You need to go south if you want to be somewhat safer, because Hamas doesn't protect the civilian population.
Somewhat.
That's the winning Israel. That doesn't mean that
you can't say they got notice. Then you can't say they got notice. If I say go down Main Street, I say, look, we're going to start bombing here. So everybody take Main Street. And take Main Street until you get to the other part of town, so that you can be safe. And then I start bombing Main Street. I can't then say, well, I gave you warning, but it's war, so I can't promise you Main Street won't get bombed.
That's exactly what you could do. Yeah. If you say, listen, I'm going to bomb the north part of the city, go to the south part of the city if you want to be safer, and some people get bombed on the way to the south part of the city. That's part of the military operation. Now the idea.
Mark should be like, yo, is that okay though? Sure, by quote unquote international law, maybe you can. Is that okay by you? Is that okay? That's where you have to snatch it from this idiot.
Idea is the north part is
not have to pause so much.
You only have to give notice with what's reasonable. It's literally written into the Geneva Conventions for whatever reason, unless
reasonable is arbitrary and relative.
Who deems that unreasonable? Again, I ask you, does anybody else give this level of notice? The answer is no. Nobody else does. So we're holding Israel to an impossible notice standard here that nobody else is required.
First of all, most nations when these types of bombings are happening are not asking large chunks. In this case, sometimes half of the entire population of the territory to move across the territory in 24 to 72 hours, right? So we're not comparing apples to apples. If there are 2.5 million people in Gaza, or 2.2 million people in Gaza, and I'm telling 900,000 to 1.2 million to go from the north to the south, and I say you have 72 hours to leave before we start bombing, and then within hours, I'm bombing the very roads that I told them to take, when they have no alternative. I mean, we're looking at it again right now in Rafah. We're looking at people who are being told, look, we're about to start a ground invasion. We're going to start a ground invasion, and so you need to leave. They're 20 kilometers south of where they need to be. They have no means of getting there.
Motherfuckers kept deleting.
Infrastructure is destroyed, and people are getting hit on the way out.
If people are fleeing south and Hamas combatants are operating within those groups of people fleeing, are they now not able to be targeted by the Israeli military?
Ask the question again.
Let's say that people are moving south, and there are combatants that are moving among those people. Combatants now free from being targeted by the Israeli.
So that's a good question, right? The short and simple answer would be, from a legal perspective, no.
I don't disagree with that. Right?
Okay. He doesn't care. That's the whole point, right?
But there's a more complicated answer. I just didn't want to seem like I was avoiding what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the issue again becomes, particularly when you have all available means. Right? Because again, you take all reasonable precautions. If I say, well, look, there's a Hamas combatant among these 100,000 people.
Impossible standard.
What technology, what weaponry, what tactic am I deploying to get at those one or two Hamas operatives? Now, if we begin from the premise that hitting one or two Hamas operatives is so sufficiently important and urgent that we can engage in a military tactic or strike that we know will unavoidably cause 20 or not, I would pick a more practical number, 300 people to die today, which consistently happens, then we have to ask ourselves, is that the only method? And is that target sufficiently worthy of that type of strike? And what we've seen consistently since October 7th is that any Hamas operative, any person who we deem to be an enemy combatant, is worth 100 to 150 Palestinian lives. And so when we see, for example, a bomb drop in a refugee camp, or we see a residential home struck, well, we know there's 8 people in there and maybe one is Hamas connected, maybe, right? Then we're taking a very high risk. And when we look at the fact that most of the people killed are women and children, 2/3 at this point.
Well, those numbers, well, children is a misnomer because it depends on what we mean by children. Are we talking about?
Oh, fuck my life. I can't believe this little cunt, bro. Oh my god. Someone needs to strangle his spirit and beat it on the ground, kick it a couple times, you fucking trash can. Well, it depends on what you mean by children. It's like, yo. Oh my fucking god. I'm wrecked by that. Is he gonna be like, well, if they're 17 or 16, are they really children? Right? He's gonna do that, I think. It's like
they're 6-year-olds with machine guns, so that's combatant.
Destiny, go outside and bang a 16-year-old. Go have sex with a 16-year-old. Like, see what happens. Go ahead, do it. They're not. Are they really children though, Destiny? You know what I'm saying? A fucking 16-year-old. Are they really kids? Come on, think about it. Are they actually kids? So go out there and
If they
sleep
roll in
with
a
them.
rifle at 7 years old, well, they deserve to die.
Depends on what you mean by kids. I'd be like, oh, so you're a fucking devil worshiper, aren't you? You are, aren't you? It's like, that's not, I'm sorry. I'd be like, yeah. I mean, Marc Lamont Hill on every point is just destroying him, right? Like in debate form, he's destroying him. It's like what's left?
Debate form, just logical, like thinking about the situation.
Yeah, so like what's left?
And he has more information on like what's actually going on in scenarios.
Yes. But like what then after that? Like what do you do after that? That's when it's like, yo, Mark, tag me in. You can't say that to me. Like, I'm gonna fucking say it to you right now. You're a fucking lying motherfucker, bro. You're a little rat boy, aren't you? You're a fucking rat, aren't you? Sorry, it's gotta be said. It's for Destiny's sake. Someone tell him he's a fucking rat. Clear as day rat. Anyways, here we go.
I don't think that's a valid.
That's
use of
not
the word children
intellectual.
for this particular
Like,
reason.
sorry.
Why?
Because 15,
Neither
16,
is
17-year-olds
Destiny.
can be part of the military and can fight.
There it is.
Which
And when we
becomes
say children, we're invoking the idea of like 4, 5, and 6-year-olds being killed. I think these are
no.
very
I'm
different things.
invoking
that
the
happens
idea of
too.
people who are not legal adults. You know, if there were a high school shooting here in the United States, we would certainly say that children were killed. But I think sometimes, sadly, when we talk about the Middle East and
His eyes bugged out.
often adultify young people, and even in our framing of statistics, we say, well, you can be you're of enemy combatant age at say 14.
Why did you Destiny react like that?
Hold on, wait, no. Okay.
He's full shit.
Say children.
He's full
The reason why we use the word children is because we're evoking a few concepts. We're invoking usually somebody who doesn't have physically the means to fight, and we're usually invoking somebody that isn't participating in any reasonable capacity to fight. That usually when we say children, those are the two things that we mean. When you're talking about a 15, 16, 17-year-old that's
American
spent
sniper
sometimes years training with weapons and is partaking in active military conflict and then gets killed in said conflict, to say that like, wow, they killed a child, that's really not fair. That's a really...
He's not talking about actual people.
Palestinian is killed.
He's not talking about actual people.
Now, I swore Mark was separating Hamas versus civilians, right? I
Yeah, he's
I
specifically
he-
talking about civilians.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's say they're not combatants, but they're 16. They're a fucking child. I'm sorry. If you're a grown man or a grown woman, you see a 16-year-old, you're like, that's a fucking kid. It's a kid. Now, granted, there's a shit ton of kids underneath that age that are getting killed en masse. And Destiny's out here playing technicalities because guess what? He's full of shit. He's full of shit. Mark can't say it. I will. He's full of shit.
Yeah, he's countering Mark's scenario with a whole different scenario, and he's saying, well, basically that there could be a kid that's a combatant, but and he's saying, well, this invalidates all of those non-combatant kids that you're talking about because there was one guy there, and that's why I'm saying like it's not a real. He's not talking about like an actual person. Like there wasn't a story that talked about this like and gave like a name. This he was a combatant and
Yeah.
his name was this or this. He's talking like it's just all bullshit. It's like a game for him.
Oh, yeah.
Like this video is crazy. Like this I think people should really see like how
Well,
like someone like this maneuvers.
well,
Because I do think it's fairly obvious what he's doing. You know, like the whole Douglas Murray thing. People saw that and just like, what the fuck?
yeah. And it will be linked without us talking over it and pausing every 5. I'm sorry. This is like infuriating, like hearing this guy talk.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I can link like the actual version in the description, or just description box, so that you guys can like actually just watch it cleanly, and you'll probably be as pissed as I am. I'm sorry. I'm actually pissed off about this. At the same time, I'm not giving my end like it ain't for nothing. It's not a just rant howling at the moon thing. It is for a reason. There's something behind it when people start caring about things. And then watch this little sloppy little ghoul motherfucker. Ew. Disgusting. There's something behind that. Something real about that. To see that shit and be like, ew. Excuse me, you're in my fucking way. But alright, here we go.
Military conflict and then gets killed in said conflict, to say that like, wow, they killed a child, that's really not fair. That's a really
So when a 15-year-old Palestinian is killed, you're saying that's just an adult kill?
I didn't say that that's just an adult kill. I'm just saying just because they're 15 doesn't mean they were a child.
Okay. I'm saying we can stipulate to new definitions of childhood, but I'm saying
We don't have no. It's not about stipulating new definitions. I'm just saying that child cosigns a lot of stuff. There's a lot of associated stuff. Generally, again, it's somebody that's usually helpless. It's somebody that's not taking part in an active military conflict. Usually, somebody who's there's like an assumption of innocence there. But when you've got a 15, 16, 17-year-old child soldier that's been fighting for years, what
percentage of guys and children under 18 are participating in military conflict?
I don't know the exact number of that.
I mean, do you have a rough estimate, or we just get? What I'm saying
Is that not like asking like just dumb guy question, right? Ask a dumb guy question, watch some dads like, he's just wrecked. He's full wrecked. Look at this fool. The confusion on Mark's face, and then Destiny's eyes like, I was just trying to win the argument, I think.
That's been fighting for years. What
percentage of guys and children under 18 are participating in military conflict?
I don't know the exact number of that.
I mean, do you have a rough estimate, or we just get? What I'm saying is, it sounds like we're just assuming that because
I know that we've seen literal videos of children. I know there was the one video that we literally saw of a child standing on top of a truck with a sling, slinging a rock at an Israeli soldier, then gets shot, and there's immediately a camera crew and a medical personnel standing right behind them. By the way, that would be a war crime. In order to basically cure him immediately, while getting all of it on footage to show that children are being attacked by the IDF, which
we have a blatant video of a kid slinging a rock at advertisement-wise, some of the most sophisticated military equipment in the world. He slung a rock at it, and I guess it was propagandic because they're like, okay, sling this rock, get shot. We'll come by with camera crews and heal you real fast, but also film it and be like, yo, see what they're doing to the kids? See that? But like they're slinging rocks. This guy, oh my god. This is like he's like mentally ill, right? Am I tripping? Jesse, are you there? Am I tripping about this? He said that, right? He said slinging a rock, right?
Yeah.
And they used it as propaganda when he got shot in in response to him slinging a rock, right?
Yeah.
Was he about to like dent the tank or something like that? You should put a dent in that shit, bro. That costs money. You put a dent in my fucking tank. You gotta get shot for that one. And they're like, okay, do this, you'll get shot.
Goliath.
Let's film it.
He slingshot it.
Actually, that's religiously actually ironic. But
yeah.
I want to hear that again. Like I'm fucking wrecked. Is he this bad? Yo, Silver, why'd you tell me to stop at 25:41 or whatever the fuck, right? Like, why? This is fucking like, what is this?
Oh, this was a requested video?
Yes. He said, just get up to like 25 minutes. You're good. I'm like, I don't think I am good. I think, fuck, let me hear more. Like, Destiny keeps going. Like, this is like embarrassingly bad. What the fuck is he saying? Someone slung a rock? We have video footage. Trust me, it's confirmed. Of some kid with a fucking slingshot slinging a fucking rock at I guess a soldier or something.
And then he says something, and what the next thing he says too, like
A crew
he's
was
saying
ready.
it's criminal or something.
All right. Let's hear
Criminal
it.
kid.
Let's hear it.
That's what
Children. I know there was the one video that we literally saw. What?
What percentage of guys and children under 18 are participating in military conflict?
I don't know the exact number of that.
I mean, do you have a rough estimate, or we just get? What I'm saying is, it sounds like we're just assuming that because
I know that we've seen literal videos of children. I know there was the one video that we literally saw of a child standing on top of a truck with a sling, slinging a rock at an Israeli soldier, then gets shot, and there's immediately a camera crew and a medical personnel standing right behind them. By the way, that would be a war crime.
By the way, that's a war crime.
Basically cure him immediately while getting all of it on footage to show that children are being attacked by the IDF, which is like the propaganda lines that are.
In the exact example you're giving, you're saying that wouldn't be because that child slung a rock. You're saying that means they're a combatant, and therefore a child wasn't killed based on the concepts that childhood invokes that you just raised. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, yeah.
So,
when we talk about school children being killed, right?
my God.
Like when you talk about Columbine, we don't usually refer to the shooters as like the children killed other children. You say the shooters or the mass murderers killed the children because it feels weird to say the children killed the children because child carries with it again these assumptions of innocence and non-combatant, non-militant activity. Nobody would refer to a 15, 16, 17-year-old that's had weapons training for years, carrying an AK-47, raping and murdering civilians as a child. That's a really weird way to refer to that. It's a way to make.
Your example was a kid slinging a fucking rock. And
He
those
called that a war crime. He said that bombing, like if there's one combatant there, it's fair game. But it doesn't matter. You kill all these people. Him saying this child swinging a rock, he's calling that a combatant, and he said that their actions are war crimes.
dude, those rocks can like poke eyes out. You know what I'm saying? So you could have poked someone's eye out with that rock.
And that was an answer to like what percentage of these children, not adults, are combatants, right? Like he was asking them, he's like, "Oh, I don't have the exact number, but we have many." Then he goes to videos. So you go from like I don't know, like
Meaning
seems like a lot to videos
examples.
to one video.
Yeah, he had no examples because he brought a kid. Like he would have brought up a kid with like a rocket or an AK or something. He said a kid
He had
slinging
one
a
example.
rock.
This was the example.
Exactly, which means he had nothing.
And this was his counterpoint to what percentage of the people. So and that was a good question to ask because it's like, okay, if this is happening, if you're countering with this type of thing, how common is that? And he basically brought it down to throwing a rock.
Because dumb guy questions always win the day. Because he bartered with him like right there. He's like how many? He's like, I don't know the exact number. Oh, sorry, rough estimate. What's your rough estimate of how many? Like, well, we have that one video of the kid, but don't worry, there was a camera crew waiting around there, and that's a war crime, by the way. They were waiting to film this one kid and say, "See, look." Like, yo, he's a sick.
And it's illegal to cover like killing Palestinians. That shit's illegal.
True. Especially if they're slinging rocks, because those are enemy combatants. But all right, here we go.
Killed the children because child carries with it again these assumptions of innocence to say children.
Let's
Is that what you're
after
saying?
his
of course,
thing.
obviously, yeah.
So-
when we talk about school children being killed, right?
Watch this
like
part.
when you talk about Columbine, we don't usually refer to the shooters as like the children killed.
Like just
other
over his head,
children.
there's a rifle.
You say the shooters or the mass murderers killed the children because it feels weird to say the children killed the children because child carries with it again these assumptions of innocence and non-combatant, non-militant activity. Nobody would refer to a 15, 16, 17-year-old that's had weapons training for years, carrying an AK-47, raping and murdering civilians as a child. That's a really weird way to refer to that.
Well,
It's a way to
he's
make
made a whole leap with the raping and murdering civilians thing, but
you didn't just say that.
But to the point of saying child, my issue with that.
If just right now, if we put our hands up, if we were to Google like women and children, you're not going to see a bunch of 17-year-old boys carrying M4s or AK-47s. You're going to see,
And you're not going to
boys
see
and their
those
moms
in your
Little boys
scenario
and
either.
Their moms.
Exactly.
That's what child usually means.
That wasn't even in this example.
Does that mean that if you're a woman soldier, you no longer you no longer lose you no longer evoke the sense of innocence and helplessness of the woman victim?
Yeah, I would say that too. That let's say you've got a fighting force, and we all believe this right now. Nobody looks at like Ukrainian or U.S. military deaths and go, "Wow, 30% of the soldiers killed in the United States were women." If 30% of our fighting forces were women, you say, "Well, they're soldiers." I mean, yeah. Why would we even think that? Of course not.
Are you saying all the civilians are actually just soldiers the whole time? It's like, is he going there? Is that where Destiny's fucking going? Like everyone killed was a Hamas combatant. He's going there, right?
Well, kind of, but he's using that his example. He's using that, and just by using that, like touching it, like you put a little a bit of coffee and water or something, and all of a sudden it spreads, right? Like, so that little that thing that he talked about, the rock, then his counter examples of completely made up scenarios, right? Like he said,
Yeah.
you wouldn't call these children if you have all these people like armed, and like if you see a picture like that, that is a made up picture he's talking about, and his example didn't include that.
Yeah. I mean, well, there could be, but he didn't actually bring that up. He just said, like, well, just imagine some Arab kid with an AK-47,
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, you need your imagination for these, and it's not that it doesn't happen. It's just that he's using these and he's building on those arguments, which he doesn't have numbers on. He has his imagination on. So even if something like that happens, there's no foundation on like what what you're talking about. If it's like real, and what I mean by real is not that like it happened once, but like, is this a typical scenario? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, are you actually like taking out a bunch of combatants every time? Like when you see numbers of children, like why is your first reaction, oh, they must have been fighters? They're probably armed.
I
Like,
mean,
why would that be your first reaction?
uh,
Like you'd want to know like more, right? Like you'd want to ask questions or try to figure out, not just say, oh, those guys must have been terrible if they died. Yeah, they must have been evil.
I mean, I wonder if he says, like, because of his little, like, Columbine thing, it's like, okay, if they're 15, but not, combatants, are they now kids then? Like, according to Destiny, like, I want to know, like, his definition of things. Like, are they kids now? Right? Or are they, like, where's he going with that? It's like,
He was saying if somebody's, like, armed or like, not innocent, he doesn't call that a kid.
Okay, but I don't think Mark Lamont Hill was, like, bringing up, like, anyone considered Hamas, right? I think he was, like, talking about, like, civilians being killed.
Yeah.
Right? And Destiny's trying to like semantic his way out of this, I think. Because he's embarrassing himself. But okay, whatever. All right, here we go.
When people say women and children are being when people are saying women and children are being killed, they're not talking about 32-year-old IDF soldiers with 17-year-old IDF young boy soldiers going out and be like, oh my God, the women and children. Women and children is used to confer like, oh, innocent status. They're just women and children. They're housewives. They're taking their kids or little babies or whatever. You would never.
I would disagree with that, and I think even in the IDFs, even in the hostage exchange proposals, they've made different distinctions for women, even women soldiers and men soldiers, right? So it's like, first we're going to return the hostages, then we're going to return the women soldiers, then we're going to return the male soldiers.
Yes, Hamas makes that distinction. Yeah.
That was Israel's suggestion, not Hamas's. To be
I thought
clear.
they were the ones that were saying. I thought because their suggestion.
No. Hamas responded. Remember, Hamas was one responding to that proposal, and they said that they would agree to those terms. That was an Israeli proposal. But so it's not just Hamas.
I thought their proposal, because they didn't want to release active military combatants, so they would only release women and children. Maybe it did come from Israel first, because that's what they agreed to. But.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you can look that up. But the bigger reason why I'm making that point is not just about how we sort of definitionally frame women and children.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm just on this point, if 100 soldiers go into an area, 100 fully trained, outfitted soldiers, it's 50% women and 50% men, and they went in and they fought, and all 100 soldiers were wiped out, would you really say this particular combat was horrible? 50 women were killed? Would you say?
Mark, if you don't pick, like, Mark might be fucking up. If you don't pick up on what the fuck he's doing here, just be like, no, we're not talking about fucking people with AKs shooting at people. Right? Let's go strictly based on, innocent civilians, period. Only count those numbers. And guess what? The numbers are fucking staggering still. Staggering. And this guy's trying to, he's working hard to make it justified. It's it's so fucking weird, dude. You're a fucking weirdo, bro. Well, I think people knew that already, but he's just adding to how much of a weirdo he is. And guess what? This guy used to be very popular back in the day as far as political people. Like, oh my God, Destiny's he's good at debates and he makes good points. And now it's like, what about that guy, huh? Like, you can sniff this fool out a mile a fucking way, bro. Seriously. Pause. But here we go.
But that's not the example. That's not in line with the point that I'm making or the example that I'm giving, right? In that hypothetical, sure. What we're talking about would be, for example, if there were a high school full of people here who were, you're saying by virtue even of them getting training,
I'm saying if they're participating in active military. Like, for instance, I just pointed out that one child on the, 15, 16, 17, he was a teenager, on the ambulance with the sling and the rock. You were saying that you would refer to that as a child. That's a soldier. That's a militant.
Right.
He's saying right to that? The kid with the fucking rock? It's a fucking rock. Come on. Are we fucking stupid? Fuck my life, bro. Are we this fucking stupid? Some kid with a fucking rock. I don't care if it's a fucking... Well, yeah, a boulder would be kind of crazy.
So he sees his family get killed, maybe his father or something, and he goes, grabs a rock and throws it at the tank.
Or even at a soldier.
We need... Yeah. We need...
He could be trying to kill him. For all I care.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as someone who's in a fucking armament, actually moving like a battalion and shit like that with the fucking weapons and shit. Like, come on, that's so fucking different. It's obviously different. That's stupid. Fuck your little technicalities, bro. We know better as people who are adults, right? We know fucking better. But this little fuckface who lives in his little gaming little mansion, his empty fucking house. Fuck out of here, dude. I'm not buying that shit, bro. It's not gonna... Sorry. Technicalities are not gonna work on me with this bullshit. Well, you could have hit him with the rock and really knocked him out, and then he could have got hit with the rock, then got KO'd, then fell into another rock and killed himself on a rock somewhere else. You could have gave him a concussion. He could have got up and tripped and fell in fucking, barbed wire and killed himself. Come on. I'm not doing these fucking technicalities, dude. Someone who's yo, you're destroying my fucking city. I'm going to hit you with a fucking rock. It's way different than someone dropping an IED or whatever. Not that the way I treat things would be like that. Oh my God, enemy combatant. I don't think like that. I'm sorry, I don't. But at the same time, in their world, as Mark said, bro, the spirit of the rule is that some scenario where it's yo, okay, shoot him and kill him. He slung a rock. Wait, he's reloading. Let's shoot him before he does. He's reloading another rock. Let's shoot him. Come on. Right? We're not stupid, are we? Fuck. Well, yeah, Destiny is stupid, actually. This guy's a dumb person. He's actually stupid. But he can memorize things and talk fast. But he's actually stupid. He's actually a dumb fucking person. Obviously a dumb person. Here we go.
And I'm disagreeing with that, right? But I'm also saying I'm disagreeing with a few things. One, the examples suggest that there's a significant portion of the Gazan child population that is engaged in this type of combat and training, and and who are engaged as combatants as opposed to just children. I'm saying that absent data on that, I don't want to concede that point. Or I'm saying, let's look. I need evidence to prove that point. I can't just say, well, that's true because it sounds like it could be true. I don't believe that to be true, and I've seen no evidence that that's true. The second part of that. Hold on one second.
He's full of shit. Yeah, this is me probably ending it. Oh my god, he's gonna grab like a Gatorade or something. Let's see. What does Destiny do? He turned his light on. You barefoot in your fucking house? Got it.
Can you hear me?
Wait. Yes, this is my ending point. I thought it was one of you guys in the call. It was actually Marc Lamont Hill doing the clown theme song. Like, yo. 1 second, I need to change my lights around. That's a good reason to, yeah, you know. Sometimes lights and, you know, lights light, you know what I'm saying? And lights do light things. So you gotta, like, change your lights, you know what I'm saying? It can't wait either. Hopefully there are plants that are being fed now from fluorescent lights or something like that. Or a black light or whatever it's called. Hopefully. But I think I'm going to end this here. Mark, listen, I think the guy means well. I really do. I've heard him before. I don't know him too well, but the things I've heard, I'm like, I think this guy means well, personally. At least on this issue. Yeah, on this issue. Okay. But, man, I want to hear more about the spirit of the role. Like drag Destiny, like, not him as a fucking automaton, computer, memorize, database guy. But, like, drag him in as like, yo, showcase your humanity, Destiny. I dare you to. He's like, well, that kid had a rock. That kid threw a rock, so, enemy combatant. It's like, that's not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough. And should be laughed out of the fucking building for that. Kidding me? And, yeah. I understand people that, like, the simple answer is to be like, yo, Destiny, trade places with one of these kids or one of these people there in Gaza. Like, what would you do? Would you call yourself an enemy combatant for grabbing a rock? Like, yo, fuck you, in protest? Or if you run to a certain location and they bomb it anyways, would you be like, well, Carl showed up. Carl was in Hamas, and Carl showed up here. So, you know what? It's justified that I get bombed too. It makes sense. That's the rules of engagement, bro. It's legal. I understand that simple thinking of karma in a way, or Ebenezer Scrooge. Actually feel what they're feeling type of thing. I get that. But at the same time, people that can see that this guy's full of shit need to call it out, man. Say it. Just say it. Beg you to. But I understand. Like, Mark's going to keep it professional. I'm not. I'm tired of shit, bro. I really am tired of all this shit. It's annoying. It's unempathetic. And for me, Destiny's the one that's not keeping it actually professional. Like, yo, you're so full of shit. You're like a propagandist, dude. You're not arguing in, like, good faith. Forget about name calling and all that stuff. I think lying to people is not arguing in, like, good faith. I think that's the thing that needs to be fucking called out, no matter what. So, Yeah, Destiny should be happy that it's Mark and not me because I'm letting it fucking fly now. It is what it is. I I give people chances. I still do. I give plenty of chances. At the same time, if I think you're lying to me, I'm like, yo, I think you're fucking lying, dude. Like, it is what it is. We're past the point of all of life has warned people already. Like, we should be like caught up. You know, you should be at least at 5th grade level at this point, not kindergarten. If you're still in kindergarten, I'm so sorry for what's about to happen. But you should be at 5th grade, at the very least. If you're not there, I'm going to remind you. I will remind you. I'm so sorry. If that scares people away, like, it is what it is. But, you know, that is where I'm at, and I can't take it anymore, man. I have to say it, man, out loud. With my words, no violence. Although I could beat the fuck out of Destiny. He's a little wimpy little boy. You could tell. But I would never do that. You know? I would never do that. I would never physically harm the guy, obviously. He's dumb enough. I mean, he's already harming himself enough. But all right, I'm leaving the video there. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment. Agree, disagree. Tell me what you think. Is this not the most, like, for me, with debates go, of watching internet debates, this might be the most wreckage I've seen, like, ever. I mean, of well, fuck. Because you have, like, you know, Nick Fuentes admitting that he'd kill babies if God told him to do so. Which is, like, that's a lot of wreckage. But this guy is apparently going to have 2 hours of full-blown wreckage. Like, it's so much, I can't even watch the rest of it. So, this might be, like, the worst. I've seen a debate bro perform in a debate. But you tell me in the comment section. Do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in that good old description box. Check out the links, share them, read them, talk about it, you know, go over the stories, do it, and then donate when you're ready. Thank you. And with all that said, please give this video a big old thumbs down. Ugh. Destiny's a little fuckboy, by the way. Little fuckboy. Sorry.